Win. You needed to see the win.
The win, number one. But I love watching Jalen Hurts cook. And I love when they let Jalen Hurts cook.
Yeah.
When they let Jalen Hurts throw the ball downfield and get a little aggressive.
Well, I also wonder how much was let and how much was it just had to happen in terms of the plays breaking down, as we pointed out. I mean, it wasn't just the touchdown passes. There was third down conversions. It just sort of looked like Jalen Hurts was playing, like schoolyard football, right? And I don't want to just sit here and come on out and say, man, Kevin Patullo better thank Jalen Hurts today. But Kevin Patullo better thank Jalen Hurts today.
He absolutely should, because there was nothing about play design that we should be bragging about today. And that's just being honest. We should be bragging about the beauty of having a quarterback with a perfect quarterback rating yesterday that was probably 70% on his shoulders.
Yes.
That first drive, though, we can go to that and say
that was a good drive.
I think that was a hang it in the Louvre. That reminded me so much of 22 and 24. The mix of run and pass, the aggressiveness of the fourth down call, the no hesitation at all. I loved it. The Saquon runs. But
even on the fourth down call, it took Jalen Hurts pointing to A.J. Brown. Hey, go. Because, again, the route, there's two Eagles receivers in the exact same spot running into defenders.
Which did not make sense.
No, and it's happened way too many times this year. So on a Victory Monday, I can't help but point out a lot of this was because of Jalen Hurts. But you know what? Thank God we saw it, Johnny.
We're going to love it. Yes, we love that we saw it. Because it's a beautiful thing.
Here's the deal. It also shows that sometimes the talent can overcome some of the shortcomings of this team. And right now, play calling is a shortcoming. But you look at the talent on this team, and you just kept on wondering week in and week out, how do they not find a way to make things work? Devontae Smith yesterday, my God, breakout day, 9 catches, 183 yards, and the touchdown. A.J. Brown, 4 for 121 with 2 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, a key first down earlier in the game. He has 3 catches for 18 yards. But really, the story of today was Jalen Hurts. Here was Nick Sirianni after the game yesterday talking about Jalen Hurts and how dangerous he is on those scramble plays.
He had a couple big plays on broken plays. That's where Jalen Hurts is so dangerous. He's able to run on a scramble play. He's able to throw on scramble plays. So made a lot of good plays like that. Obviously, that one was one of them. Had multiple. I think we had one to Dallas, one to Devontae for a big gain, one to AJ on another third down. So there was a bunch of those. And scramble plays, John, don't always look the same, right? Sometimes, if there's a void in the deep zone, you can take it high. Sometimes if there's not, you take it back. Sometimes you just flash with the quarterback. But those are things that we work tirelessly on as a unit, as a team, as a coaching staff, and because we know we have the abilities to make plays and big plays off of that.
Look, you can give all the credit in the world to this is what we work on during practice. Like, I know you guys work on it in practice, but that's Jalen and AJ and Devontae.
Now, what I like so much about, though, is that, like, what he's talking about there, too, though, is the fact that Jalen Hurts, it takes a certain level of ice water in the veins, the poise, the confidence, but more the calmness. He plays with a calmness, and we've seen it in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
We've seen it in NFC Championship games. He plays calm, and he makes the plays, and it was wonderful yesterday. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and again, he put the team on his back, which is what any franchise would want their franchise quarterback to do. And I love the emotion of him walking into the tunnel yesterday. Credit to Tim McManus, who was recording on his phone. Jalen Hurts walking in the tunnel, sees Howie Roseman and saying, we're not bleeping losers anymore. Now, look, nobody looked at you as a loser, but I get what he's saying.
Meant.
We lost 2 straight weeks. We looked bad. There was a lot of 2023 talk happening on the airwaves, but coming from your own locker room. So let's not act like this was a media-driven thing. It was coming out of your locker room through the media, but there were players talking. You get a win like that yesterday, hopefully that sort of uplifts the entire team and pushes them moving forward. And I know the New York Giants have been like a fun team to watch recently. They had a horrible loss yesterday. The Eagles now looking for that revenge game against a lesser Giants opponent. They should be ready to go out at home, take care of business against the Giants next week. And now all of a sudden you're going into the bye week. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but you're going into the bye week if you win on Sunday 6-2.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you just made, like, really, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. Is that's where we're talking about them being.
They needed it.
They needed it. They did it. It's beautiful. But more importantly, Jalen delivering like that just tells me they can overcome. They can overcome what, again, really wasn't good. And in the game plan didn't look great. And more importantly, though, something I'm very excited about is that maybe was the worst game I've seen the offensive line play in a long time.
It was really bad.
So he overcame it. We're going to get into that, I see.
Yep, we will.
And so to me, again, that tells me you have a great quarterback that just needs to be allowed to be great.
Well,
he needs to be allowed to be great.
And I saw people tweeting this out during the game early on yesterday. Like, how come Jalen just looks to run out of bounds every time the play breaks down? He's not looking downfield. Maybe a lot of that was an emphasis from the coaching staff. We have talked about the conservative approach from this Eagles offense a lot this season.
You mean he wants to make smart plays with the football and doesn't want to make big mistakes?
No, but sometimes you have the ability to throw the chunk play downfield, especially when you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So, like, I'm okay with a shot downfield sometimes. I think they're just a very careful group, and I understand why. The first 4 weeks last year, you were not careful. You were almost careless, and then all of a sudden you have to turn to running the football almost every single play in order to win. But you have so much talent around you, and because of Jalen Hurts' ability to extend a play, it's why I always talk about the perfect marriage between him and the offensive line. Maybe not so much this year because the O-line hasn't been great, but over the years, the offensive line that gets talked about so highly, Jalen Hurts is part of the reason why he doesn't get sacked that much, because he extends plays. And when you kind of let them just figure out how to play football just in real time, you see how great this team can be because you have so much talent on it. Just kind of let them unleash a little bit. And you got that yesterday.
The thing is the conservative play, the don't make mistakes has worked for Nick Sirianni and his staff. And it's worked for us as Eagle fans. But it just goes to show you, man, what can they do when they do get a little loose?
Absolutely.
And I loved it. And now, again, you said it. You're all set up. Can you take care of business against the Giants, go into the bye week, have 2 weeks off? Because this team, boy, do they need it.
They absolutely
really
need it. A lot of injuries yesterday as well. We'll break it all down on this Victory Monday, which is brought to us by our friends at the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit opayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. Our question today on Friday, Johnny, we asked, would Sunday be the tipping point game? How are you feeling about the road ahead for the Eagles? Do we start to see the Super Bowl contenders, or do you still have questions? Text those in at 610-632-0975. Coming up next, how much credit do you get if the fan base was screaming for you to do something? Well, the offense finally did something yesterday. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
is Brett Toth at center, with Juergens dealing with an injury. Deep drop for Hurts, trying to find something downfield, and it's Devontae Smith. He's loose. He's got it. He is gone. Touchdown, Eagles. Lightning strike to Devontae Smith from 79 yards. The longest play of his career. The two longest have come against the Vikings.
That was a great play. Under center. Play action.
How about
Jalen
that?
stands tall. Devontae open downfield. Hits him in stride. Touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles. It's almost as if it's something we have been asking for, John.
It's almost as if Devontae Smith converts on those 85% of the time.
Sure.
I mean, his hands are so great. His footwork, he may have the most beautiful footwork I've ever seen.
He's a
Of an Eagles receiver, he has the best footwork I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a ballerina.
He's like a ballerina, the Slim Reaper. And he's, fourth in receiving yards in the NFL right now.
And it's just, after you have 189 yards in
How
one
about
day,
that?
that'll bump you up a little bit.
No, I'm glad to see him because, look, AJ's gotten a lot of accolades. And AJ's going to get his. We know that by the end of the year, AJ's going to have his.
Yeah.
Because he's too good to not. I'm glad to see Devontae being able to get his, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Devontae doesn't make any noise.
It's just amazing that how many times have we, in our year and a half doing this show together, but in your time doing sports talk radio, right, have you heard a fan or a group of people or almost the entire city ask for something, the teams not necessarily do it, and then when they do it, it works?
Oh, yeah.
Like hashtag run the ball last year. The team ignored it for 4 weeks. Then they started running the ball, and they end up winning the Super Bowl. This year, it was stop only running under center and passing out of the gun. Now, part of it may be because Brett Toth struggles with the snap out of the gun. We heard about that from reporters yesterday, that's something that he struggles with. So they almost kind of had to go with Jalen Hurts under center. But it's amazing. We've been asking for play action for weeks now. They're one of the least used play action teams in the NFL. Now, part of it is, I get maybe they load up the box because you got Saquon Barkley, but when you are predictable, which is the word that was used a lot last week, oh, by the way, by your right tackle, Lane Johnson, when you're predictable, defenses aren't going to have that hard of a day trying to stop you. Yesterday, you did something for pretty much the first time all season, and don't give me the whole, we were setting it up for 6 weeks, right?
No.
No, you just have not been using it. You used it yesterday, it's a touchdown.
They're all over the place. I mean, it was so improvisational yesterday. And that's the best word for it. But I think that there could be a lot of good things from it. But early on, the running game worked so well, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah, it did.
The running game was working beautifully, and then it just absolutely fell apart.
And you could tell the frustrations getting to Saquon. There was a play where in the third or fourth quarter, I mean, he got hit 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And,
what was that? What was that first? It was the first down carry blitz.
Yes, and he just stood up and he just shook his head he's got nowhere to go
because of the predictability of the run sets. And as they pointed out in the game, who, by the way, he does it. He's all Greg Olson's not on the number one team anymore. And Tom Brady does a great job. I think Tom Brady does a great job.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
Greg Olson's better.
A lot of people bag on Brady, but Olson really does a nice job of explaining the game.
Yeah,
and it was so clear that he can point out every time from the sets that, like, boy, we can tell when the Eagles are going to run, and that's bad.
Yeah, no, that's bad. Nick Sirianni, here he was after the game yesterday, talking about the success that they've had out of the shotgun.
We've obviously been in the gun for a long time in our offense. It's just a change of some of the things that we've done. We've been very successful in the gun, and we're just trying to find ways to get things going, different ways. Today it was, hey, try to get under center some. Still want to be able to, run the ball more effectively and more efficiently than we did today, but that's on all of us as coaches, as players. It gives you obviously something a little different. I won't get into all the things that we know that it gives us. There's a time for it. There's also time to be back in the gun and running from there because, we've made a lot of plays that way as well.
Yeah, I'll just say you don't get credit for doing something that the city's been asking for 6 weeks, but I'm glad he did it.
But You know what's funniest too is they reverted to something not funny because I was really pissed about it.
Yep.
They reverted to something. How about before the give up play on that 3rd and 5 when they ran?
I pointed
When
it
they
out
ran the
yesterday
ball.
on social media. The 3rd and 5. It was
What do we?
because here's what their mindset is. Well, actually, it's 3rd and 4.
I mean,
Because we have the tush push. So all we need is 4 yards on this run, and then we'll get the first down. Oh, sometimes it doesn't work, Nick.
but you pass the
Evan?
ball. But you already see you pass the ball so well
Over the middle of the field,
you
too.
wanna-
All day. You're right. I mean,
all day long.
John, I'm the exact same mindset of you. When that play call happened, 3rd and 5.
The give up 3rd downs to me with this offense, with this offensive personnel is completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And to me, if I'm Jeff Lurie, that's one that really, as an owner, I'm like, okay, this really sucks. This sucks. That's not Eagle football.
Nope.
The Eagles have never been about, and we always talk about aggressiveness. I mean, Nick Sirianni talks about being aggressive. That's as passive as you get. That's a puppy rolling over on its back.
Well, one thing about Eagles football, W's. And we got one yesterday. 5-2, the Eagles are winning 28-22, going to Minnesota and beating Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings. Coming up next, it's been a while since we could have a good vibes day talking Eagles. So let's pump them up a bit. Victory montage coming up next, and we'll check the text line for the first time. Now that you saw the win, we asked about the tipping point question on Friday. Do we start to see the Super Bowl contenders, or do you still have questions? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Franchise history for the Birds. Birds finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And here is how he iced the game, courtesy of Fox.
Is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lose a few players, though, due to injury, including Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also left the game early. Andrew Jacko will join us at 7:55 for his analysis of the Eagles' win. The Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight, and you can listen to that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30. And this update is brought to you by Bradford White. When you need a water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the best of the 76ers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Victory Monday here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5. The Fanatic Eagles improved to 5-2 on the season, snapping their 2-game losing streak when they go to Minnesota and beat the Vikings 28-22. You heard the voice of Sean Rodman during the update. Connor Thomas was in the building yesterday in Minnesota. So Connor is going to be joining us coming up at 9:30 to give a nice little update on what happened yesterday, because the Eagles beat Carson Wentz.
Yeah, well,
And Wentz was very Wentz-ish.
did you say that right? The Eagles beat Carson Wentz?
Maybe Carson Wentz
Beat himself?
beat himself.
Yeah,
Very Wentz-ish day yesterday for him. You got your 2 turnovers that you wanted. One of them being a pick 6 out of Jalix Hunt.
That was the easiest bet on the board. I said it to you the other day. We were putting together our bet. If you watch post-show headlines, that was the easiest bet on the board for me, was 2 turnovers from Carson Wentz. But I thought it was going to be a fumble and an interception. I did not think I'd get 2 interceptions in the first half.
Yeah, you got 2 picks, and one of them.
That was great.
One of them, a 2nd and 25, just chucked downfield. And I noticed yesterday, John, that there are still Carson Wentz fans in this city, or believers, because I put out a tweet that was such a Carson Wentz interception. And this guy from my old town of Mullica Hill
What do you mean, believers?
responded going, "Give him a break. That was like a punt." I was like, dude, it was 2nd and 25.
What is he
You
talking?
do that on 3rd down.
It was no, but you still don't do that.
On 3rd down, you do it, not on 2nd.
Yeah, but I think you still don't do that.
No, on 3rd down, it's that's as good as a punt. You don't do that on 2nd down. You don't give up a play on
That was
2nd down.
terrible
There's
throw.
people that still make excuses for him in the city, which is nuts. All right, so let's relive some of those interceptions, and let's relive the good moments of the Philadelphia Eagles. Our man Sean Rodman put it together. Here's a little victory montage Monday.
8 back in coverage this time for Minnesota. Hurts pointing, throwing, trying to find a loose man. It's A.J. Brown. He's in. Touchdown Eagles on the opening drive. Reed, wrong throw. Oh, bad snap. Over the head of Wentz. That's a line ball. And Wentz will rescue it back there. It was being chased down by Azeez Ojulari. And Wentz had to go rescue that ball back near the 45-yard line. So now a field goal even becomes a greater question for Minnesota. Motion Addison. Blitz coming. Wentz hit as he throws, picked off. Intercepted. There goes Jalix Hunt. House call Philadelphia. His first NFL pick leads to his first touchdown. For the next 2 downs. Wentz is rolling out, looking downfield, launches a ball, dangerous pass, intercepted. Picked off by Andrew Makuba, who's the only defensive back for Philadelphia that has a pick. That's his 2nd of his NFL career. Got one-on-one with Jefferson at the top. Looking that way. Justin Jefferson couldn't haul it in. Had he done so, that would have been a spectacular play. Cooper DeJean, the Iowa native with plenty of fans here in Minnesota, pumped that ball out of the way. It is Brent Toth at center, with Juergens dealing with an injury. Deep drop for Hurts, trying to find something downfield, and it's Devontae Smith. He's loose. He's got it. He is gone. Touchdown Eagles. Lightning strike to Devontae Smith from 79 yards. The longest play of his career. The 2 longest have come against the Vikings. Less than 100 seconds for the 3rd. Here's Hurts stepping up. Flag is thrown far side. Hurts throws near side for Devontae Smith. It will be good for a first down pending the flag.
Yeah, they're going to get Blake Cashman for illegal contact. He knocked down A.J. Brown. They'll decline that penalty and take the reception. Side of the field.
Wentz looks in that direction. He ends up taking the sack, and it's Moro Ojomo. 3rd sack of the season for the 3rd-year man out of Texas, and it comes in a big moment for Philadelphia's defense. Green shoes. Hurts, collapsing pocket, got away from Turner, being chased by Turner, throws on the move. It is A.J. Brown, and will they mark him right at the sticks? They will at the first down. Barkley's on the sideline, fresh set of downs, 47-yard line plus territory. Bigsby's the back. Hurts looks, throws, open man, Devontae Smith. Nobody season. 5 on the pressure. Hurts throws down the seam. A.J. Brown touchdown. His second of the day. All game. 128 yards for Jordan Addison today. First and goal from the 10. It is Wentz. Under pressure, and down he goes. It's the second sack of the day, and it's Josh Uche with his first as a Philadelphia Eagle. It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game for Philadelphia on a huge third down conversion to the big body Brown. Bunch of offensive struggles at times with Carson Wentz in his 4th consecutive start, but stayed in this game. Too many field goals, not enough touchdowns is the story of the day. And Jalen Hurts put together a perfect passer rating, the 3rd in Eagles history. Nick Foles, Donovan McNabb, the others, and Jalen Hurts' best passing game in over a year in the regular season leads Philadelphia to a 6-point win.
Man, did we need to see that. Great job, Sean Rodman, putting that together. Shout out to Nate Tennyson, who was here doing all the highlights and then the press conferences yesterday. I know it's a team effort, collective. That's something that Jalen Hurts would say at the podium, that it was a team effort. Jalen Hurts, great game yesterday for the Philadelphia Eagles. 19 of 23, 326 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. You heard them in that montage there. One to Devontae Smith on the play action pass downfield. Devontae Smith, by the way, after the game saying that was there all game.
And it was.
And he tried telling that to Kevin Patullo. And then finally they ran it, and Jordan Mailata went up to him and said, "You called your shot." Maybe, just maybe, the communication that they always talk about, that they always highlight, should happen more in-game and listen to the players.
Well, that's one of the things that has been deficient. So, and I think that's sort of something that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
That it's deficient.
With all this talent. All right, Sean, what do we got on the text line? It's a day where you can just straight up react, but our question, we asked on Friday, would Sunday be the tipping point game one way or another? Win, it propels them forward. Lose, we got a lot of issues. They won. So do you believe we start to see the Super Bowl contenders, or do you still have questions? What do we got?
It sounds like a lot of people on the text line still have questions right now. Ian in Coatesville checking in saying, good morning, victory Monday, but can we be honest? We should have won by 30 with the way Jalen Hurts played. Our play calling and scheming on offense is bad. Our secondary on defense is very suspect. Got some things to clean up, but let's go Birds.
Yeah,
No, there's no question.
Look, let's give the Vikings some credit. If Wentz wasn't Wentz, it might be a different game,
How
right?
about
Two turnovers. There was the one play where he had, I think it was Justin Jefferson was wide open for a touchdown. He just missed him completely.
How about the play in the end zone by sticking with it by Cooper DeJean?
That was a ridiculous play.
Cooper DeJean with the relentless, because a lot of guys would give up on that play.
Yeah.
He fought through that, through the entire catch.
With Justin Jefferson, he's 1A, 1B with Jamar Chase in terms of the top 2 wide receivers in the NFL. Like, that was ridiculous. A great play
That was
by
so great.
Cooper
And
DeJean.
again, when you talk about Greg Olsen, a great receiver in the NFL, talking about it at that tight end, talking about going up against somebody like that who fights you all the way through the catch.
Mm-hmm.
That was fantastic work. Cooper DeJean is actually just showing that there's no drop-off.
Yeah, which is spectacular. By the way, they need a pass rush. And
Yeah,
I know
they need
I
a
know they
lot.
might bring
Yeah, they
somebody
need a
back.
lot.
We'll talk about it.
We're going to talk about that.
We'll talk about it. But they need
Uh-huh.
a pass rush. And you see on a weekly basis the absence of Nolan Smith and how much that's playing a factor. And
Only got to survive one more game
yeah,
without Nolan.
Well,
hopefully.
I still think you can improve on the other side.
I got you.
With all due respect, he had the big pick 6 yesterday.
But how much better does Nolan being back potentially make it?
It'll help. Absolutely. It'll help.
Gotcha.
All right, coming up next, as much as we've been loving up on the Eagles today, we do have to talk about the offensive line. Can they overcome the brick wall that they may have hit? We'll get into that coming up next. We'll check more of your text messages. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
John Marks and Ray Dunn. Your middays will never be the same again.
The show for the people.
Giants, you're 6-2 going into the bye week. Was this the turning point, right, where you start saying, okay, now there are the Eagles that I've been expecting to see? We'll get our text messages on that momentarily at 610-632-0975. But let's talk about the Eagles' offensive line. Can't ignore it. Obviously, they're banged up. Cam Jurgens exited the game yesterday with a knee injury. Who knows what his status is? We'll find out, throughout the course of the week. Brett Toth, there's a big drop-off from Jurgens to Toth. A major drop-off.
It's a huge drop-off, but it may have benefited them yesterday.
Yeah, because then they started going under center, throwing the football, and it changed a lot of how that offense looked.
But I think pressure up the middle, causing Jalen Hurts to vacate under center, also was an issue. So there's positives, there's negatives.
Right.
I do not want to see Cam Jurgens out for a long time. Hopefully we're not talking about a problem here. Just little birdie, I wouldn't expect we see Cam Jurgens Sunday.
Okay.
And then that would give him 3 weeks. So hopefully we're talking about something that is just – hopefully we're talking about something that's not major, and we're talking about he gets 3 weeks to recover. And Landon Dickerson, I think I'm convinced, is just going to talk his way into the lineup.
Well,
he's going to refuse to ever be out of the lineup because him and Cam Jurgens have both been playing hurt.
Yeah, they absolutely have.
They've been playing hurt.
By the way, Jordan Mailata was bad yesterday. Can we say it?
He was bad.
He was bad.
No,
I know we love him.
How about this? He was beaten. He was beaten quite a bit. How about that?
Yeah, it was a rough day for Jordan Mailata, and it's kind of scary. I keep on going back to the E.J. Smith article where Mailata spoke with him and straight up told him, I'm not myself right now because of all the football we played last year, the physical brand of football that they played last year, that his body wasn't recovered as quickly as it normally was. Into OTAs, he was still not necessarily feeling himself. And maybe this is just a wall that the team has hit. Now, the scary thing is you don't just overcome a wall, right? Like, the bye week could maybe help, but for how long? Do you start feeling it 2-3 weeks after the bye? And if we're talking about guys that are still feeling last year's impact this season, a guy like Jordan Mailata, is that a bad sign for things to come for at least this year? I'm not saying for the next 5 years. I'm saying for this season, the rest of the way. It wasn't pretty for Jordan Mailata. Landon Dickerson is clearly dealing with injuries, as you mentioned. Lane played pretty well yesterday. Steen was okay.
Yeah, Steen was.
But the left side was a rough day.
But there's a lot of pre-snap injuries. There's a drop off from this offensive line that we can no longer say, because it's 7 games, we can no longer say that this offensive line is a strength.
Oh, absolutely.
Until they prove us differently. They are right now mediocre, average. They're average.
Sure.
And that's shocking. We haven't said that.
You know what? They're average, but they're below average for what they want to do. They want to run the football. Like, let's face it, yesterday was so much fun watching Jalen Hurts throw all over the field and improvise. It's still not what they want to do. They want to run the football, and so they're below average for that. Here are Saquon Barkley's rushing totals by week. 18 for 60, 22 for 88, 18 for 46, 19 for 43, 6 for 30, 12 for 58, 18 for 44. He has 113 carries this year for 369 yards. That's 3.3 yards per carry.
Oh, my gosh.
That's not good.
Nah, it's bad. And it looked so good. Like, it looked so good. And then it looked like that first drive, it looked like 22 and 24.
Yes.
All scripted, which I would imagine, since they had their players meeting last week, was a collaboration.
Sure.
Everybody collaborating on that script. And then, well, it fell apart. It absolutely fell apart.
Yeah. There's something up with this offensive line. I mean, look, we know what's up. They're banged up. They're banged up. Now, hopefully they can get healthier as the season goes on, but spoiler, that doesn't really happen in the NFL. All right, what do we got on the text line, Sean? It's 610-632-0975. On Friday, we asked you if Sunday's game would be the tipping point. They got the win, so thankfully we get to have the positive angle on the tipping point conversation?
Great angle.
Or do you believe there's still a lot of questions? And Sean said we have a lot of people texting in with questions. We've only gotten one so far. What do we got?
All right. One person that doesn't necessarily have questions is Simple Sean from Ballackinwood. Says, do you guys like Kevin Patullo now? No hate this morning in KP, I trust.
Wait a minute. Well, first off, Simple Sean, I thought that was you. That's what we call you in here.
Yeah.
Is that a...
I'm guessing that was sarcasm.
Is he trying to say that Kevin Patullo's getting credit for the broken play touchdowns?
Yeah, I'm hoping that's sarcasm.
I'm hoping it is.
It wasn't a good day for Patullo.
That was not a good day for Kevin
Hurts
Patullo.
Day. Jalen Hurts carried the team yesterday.
Kevin Patullo does not get credit for Jalen Hurts' fantastic passing day. If you don't know what a broken play is, I would suggest that you watch what the breakdown from Coach Tony Dungy. If you don't watch the 7 o'clock hour leading up to Sunday Night Football, Coach Dungy talked about it being like sort of street ball. That Jalen Hurts literally improvising, directing people with his hands. That's not Kevin Patullo. You got to understand that.
Now, I will say the touchdown pass to Devontae Smith was the play call.
No,
but
that's a play call.
Again, it took 7 weeks to do
and we're begging for it. We're begging for it.
Under center, play action. You've been pointing out the percentage of play action passes, pre-snap motion.
32 out of 32 teams in the NFL when you're talking about play action. That's unforgivable. That's unforgivable when you're one of the best. When you had one of the best rushing attacks.
Yeah. What else we got?
All right. On the other end of the spectrum, C from Bucks County says, "Wow, that was an impressive performance by the offense. I still have questions about the OC and head coach when it comes to offensive philosophy. I think the Eagles desperately want to have the same identity as last year with being a run-first team, but they are currently unable to do that. The passing game is the best way forward."
Look, the prime example for what they want to do when I say they want to run the football, and we talked about it in the first segment, John, like the give-up plays, however you want to call it, the 3rd and 5, when they ran the football with Saquon, you had not been getting anything going on the ground since that opening drive, all right? And since the one Tank Bigsby 11-yard carry.
By the way, that one carry, did you just go, what?
Yeah, it looked nice.
Tank Bigsby.
It was 3rd and 5. You had been finding players over the middle of the field all game in the second half, right? Like Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith. It didn't matter who it was. Jalen Hurts would find somebody in space. And on 3rd and 5, you ran the football because in the back of their mind, they'll straight up tell you. Nick Sirianni will tell you. It's 1st and 9 every drive because we have the tush
they
push.
brag about that.
So on 3rd and 5, they're saying, well, it's really 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3.5 because we can get the tush push conversion on the next play. Well, what happens when you get stuffed at the line of scrimmage? Because that's exactly what happened. And that is what they want to do. They want to be a careful football team. I understand not wanting to turn the football over. I get it. That's part of the reason why you won yesterday, because the other team did, because Carson Wentz had 2 bad interceptions. But still, you can't be so careful to the point where it could be a detriment at times.
With an offensive line that's all beaten up physically.
Yes.
Why in the world do you want to rely on the tush push? Why in the world do you want to rely on that? It doesn't make sense to me. Why do you want to beat up your offensive line more? That does not make any sense to me.
Well, they know it's in the back of their playbook.
I got
back of their mind.
You know what? Leave it in the back of the playbook. Let these guys, how about using a passing game that doesn't rely on you being in 3rd and 1 all the time?
Right. Scratching and clawing the first downs, man. It gets exhausting. All right, coming up next, we've mainly talked about the Eagles' offense today. What about the defense? There was some good yesterday. There was some not. And there was also some thank you for being you, Carson Wentz moments. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Jalen Hurts was perfect. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Birds head up to Minnesota and beat the Vikings. Jalen Hurts was perfect with his passer rating, only the 3rd time in franchise history for the Birds. Hurts finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and here is how he iced the game, courtesy of Fox.
It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lose a few players, though, due to injury, including Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also left the game early as well. Andrew Jekyll will join us at 7:55 for his analysis on the Eagles' win. And the Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find the looks all for under $30. With new arrivals every day, you never know what you'll find. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Flyers, Sixers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. We'll get back to our text messages here momentarily. Our question for you, other than just overall reaction to the Eagles' win over the Vikings yesterday. On Friday, we asked you if Sunday's game would be the tipping point one way or another. Well, they got the win. So, do you believe it tipped toward being the Super Bowl contenders that we expected to see, or do you still have a lot of questions? Now, I believe there will be some questions about the Eagles' defense as well, because let's face it, Carson Wentz is a big reason why they won the game yesterday.
Yeah, you think?
The first interception, look, first off, he got crushed by Jalen Carter. That was probably more so Eagles' defense than Carson Wentz. He just got hit really hard. He let go of the football.
His protection and again, as Olsen pointed out, I said that was a terrible throw. My gut instinct was that's a terrible throw.
Yeah.
And then when Olsen breaks it down for you, it wasn't a terrible throw.
By the way, they switched centers after that play.
It was not a terrible throw. It was a really great play by the Eagles defense, masquerading what they did.
Yep. The second one was a terrible throw. The second and 25, just saying, I'm just going to throw this one downfield, and Drew Makuba comes up with the interception. After that, Cooper DeJean had the really nice interception. The deflection with Justin Jefferson. Josh Uche had some good moments. Moro Ojomo had the big sack late. But other than that, I mean, there were plays there. Carson made some pretty bad throws, missing guys that were streaking downfield open. And my God, the T.J. Hawkinson, what would have been a highlight reel catch ends up being an incompletion. That changes the game drastically for the Minnesota Vikings, and the Eagles all end up holding on the win. I know there's a lot of questions about the defense. To me, I'll keep on going back to Nolan Smith's injury and just how much that impacts the Eagles, because there was a couple of rushing plays yesterday where Jalen Hunt was trying to set the edge, and he was getting manhandled. Just manhandled, getting pushed all over the place, which allowed the Vikings rushing attack to still go upfield every once in a while. Nolan Smith's the guy that does so well for them in the rushing attack, and then also his ability to get to the quarterback. You got to hope that when he comes back, the front looks a little bit better. But even if he's back, they're still lacking talent on the other side, with all due respect to Jalen.
Okay, but think of it this way. How much does one healthy guy change the offensive line? How much does one healthy guy at center change the offensive line? How much does one healthy edge rusher push everybody else down the line? To me, that's what has to be. That's what you have to think about. I think that has to be thought about.
I'll think about it, but I got to see. It's not like they were getting home early on it either.
I got you. No, but I think that you're not.
Dak wasn't under duress. Patrick Mahomes wasn't really under duress until they just started blitzing every other play. So it's not like Nolan Smith was getting after it much earlier this year.
Do you not think it's better?
No, it's going to be
okay.
Better.
So that's
it's not going to be as bad as it has been.
Well, then that's what I'm.
What's better?
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. It's better. They're better. They're 5-2. They're going to if Tampa Bay loses tonight, they're tied for the best record in the NFC. They've beaten the Rams, who are 5-2. They've beaten the Bucks, who are 5-2. If the Bucks lose tonight, I mean, yes, there's a weakness there, but they're there. They're right there. I think you're being. I understand your point. I'm not saying it's not valid, but I think you're being a little rough, because I could go to Tampa Bay Sports Radio, I could go to Detroit Sports Radio, I could go to all those towns, and they could all point to something that's saying, yeah, there's our deficiency.
Sure, but it's a glaring deficiency. That and cornerback too, right? Like those are glaring deficiencies. Despite them being 5-2, it's still deficiencies.
I didn't think cornerback 2 was exploited yesterday.
Yesterday was not a bad day.
Even though that like 20-yard cushion, the middle of the defense yesterday, that like 20-yard cushion, the out route to the sidelines was open all day long.
With Jordan Addison.
What the hell was going on with that?
They did have it pretty much all game.
What was that?
Look, the defense, it'll be interesting to see how aggressive Howie Roseman gets come trade deadline, right? November 4th is the trade deadline, so we're 2 weeks away from it. it's got to be a defensive upgrade somewhere, right? Whether it's cornerback or edge rusher, and it's probably going to be some veteran guy. It's not going to be somebody that's going to come in here and get 15 sacks for you. It's going to be another body, another warm body, because right now that is an area of weakness. I thought they did a pretty good job getting to Carson Wentz, but how much of that was Carson Wentz holding on to the football? Because that's obviously something that we know that he does a lot. You can text in at 610-632-0975. What else we got, Sean?
Yeah, David checks in, kind of along those lines with the Howie Roseman says, small Band-Aid on a large wound. If we don't clean up the penalties, find a pass rush, cornerback 2, and fix the O-line, it might be a rough stretch moving forward, starting with the CTE brothers next week.
God, the CTE, bro. Come on.
What?
The Jackson Dart and,
I know,
and
I get it.
Scatterboo. That's the CTE
Got it.
brothers.
That's
Jeez,
it's a little rough.
it's a
By the
hell of a
way,
thing to say.
the Giants could be down the line a problem. If they're a problem next week, it's the Eagles that have the problem. If the Eagles don't show up and take care of that team next week.
Yeah, you can't lose to them 2 times in 3
No,
weeks.
that's the problem.
You absolutely can't lose to them 2 times in 3 weeks. What else we got?
All right, another person checking in, no name, says, this defense is in desperate need of secondary help or a pass rusher. I can't watch Keely Ringo or Adoree Jackson anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look,
did you think Keely Ringo was terrible yesterday?
I mean, they were getting back into the football game, but ultimately it was the bend but don't break. They didn't
But
really
I don't
break.
think Keely Ringo was a. I actually think it was like, okay, I'm sort of happy.
Look, Quinyon Mitchell was spectacular yesterday, right? Like, he was spectacular, and so Carson Wentz was able to, pick apart the rest of the defense, but pick apart to the point where it was yards. It wasn't touchdowns, and that's something that we see a lot in the NFL, where it's the bend but don't break idea. It's not the same dominant defense that we saw last year. The question is, where does it start? Does it start with the pass rush, or does it start with the secondary? I have always been a believer of a good pass rush can sort of hide a not-so-great secondary. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl 52, nobody was talking about Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills being, Darrelle Revis and Asante Samuel, right? Like, nobody.
No.
They were quality cornerbacks, but it was that front that either got sacks, and sometimes it wasn't even sacks. It was just getting pressures. Not many pressures from the Eagles defense this year. So to me, and it was going into the season, that was my biggest worry was the pass rush, because I'm not the biggest believer in Nolan Smith for a 17-week season, right? Like, he did not really step up till when? Around Thanksgiving last year?
No, it was up until Thanksgiving last year, he didn't make an impact.
And then in the playoffs, he was ridiculous, right? Like, he was absolutely playing out of his mind in the playoffs.
And by the way, that's the same thing to the people that were the same people who were absolutely clamoring for the Eagles to go out there and bring back for a third time a certain malcontent safety to this town. It's the same exact thing. I don't want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. It's the same thing. He wasn't good for the majority of the season. He got good at the end of the year. That's all he did.
I'm focusing on the pass rush.
And he's not good. I understand. But that makes the pass rush better. That makes your pass rush better. When guys are covered,
it's a marriage.
When guys are covered, that means that the quarterback is holding the ball longer, which means the pass rush gets home faster. So it all works together. So to me, I don't know. I'm feeling good about it.
I'm glad that you. I'm not.
I tell you, I'm telling you. Yesterday, I got no gripes with that defense going out of Minnesota, the way that they did. I'm not griping. I'm just looking down the road. That was better than
the pass rush is something that needs to get better for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, of course it does. But that was better than I expected. That was better than I expected yesterday. Honestly, that was a better defensive effort than I thought we were going to get.
All right,
honestly.
What else we got?
All right. One person doesn't sound like this is Steve, not really giving too much credit to this win, says, Wentz stinks, wake me up when the playoffs start.
Okay.
Oh, God. I think that's a troll job.
Come on, man.
I think that's a troll job.
Got it. Look, I will say it again. Part of the reason why you won the football game yesterday was because of Wentz having Wentz-ish moments. The 2 interceptions, the holding on to the ball too long, missing open receivers. That is part of the reason why you won the football game yesterday. But to say, wake me up, like, come on, man.
Get out of here.
He's the defending Super Bowl champion.
Get out of here.
You can't be doing that. All right, you can continue to climb in at 610-632-0975. Our question on Friday was whether or not the Sunday game would be the tipping point, one way or another. We saw the win, so how are we feeling? The road ahead for the Eagles. Do we start to see the Super Bowl contenders that we expected to see, or do you still have questions? It seems like majority of our responses have been questions, John, except for one person loving up on Kevin Patullo. You can text in at 610-632-0975. Now, speaking of the pass rush, there is a player that's apparently available. We'll get into that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
7 a.m. hour is brought to you by the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the Bet Parks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It is 7-11 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Eagles pass rush, to me, needs help. I just don't know where they're looking right now is necessarily going to be the help that they need. So yesterday morning, there was a very interesting report from Adam Schefter that the Philadelphia Eagles and future Ring of Honor member Brandon Graham have started having conversations, and that Brandon Graham is showing some interest in returning to the Philadelphia Eagles. So first off, we'll play this clip because Tim McManus was on with I don't know if this was with the pregame show or postgame show. I know he does both.
Pregame show.
Pregame show. All right, so this was Tim McManus with our pregame show yesterday talking about a potential return for Brandon Graham.
It certainly feels like the wheels are in motion here, guys. We know that the need is there. Edge rush has just been decimated with injuries and then a sudden retirement from Zadarius Smith, and they're really on fumes at that position. They need help, and Brandon Graham feels like he's been maybe itching to come back a little bit here, and so there's an opportunity for him to make a return. I mean, it was such a storybook ending. He goes out on top. He's got the Lombardi trophies on either side of him as he's doing his retirement press conference, but need plus desire on the players' end is creating a circumstance here where one of the storied defensive players in franchise history is going to be back on the field, sounds like.
So, John, when Timmy mentions Brandon Graham storybook ending, that's why I want it to be done, because that is such a great way to go out, especially he was the longest tenured Eagle at the time. He wins the Super Bowl on his way out, has the Herculean effort to come back. Remember the injury that he sustained, and then all of a sudden he dresses for the Super Bowl, and it was necessary because you had players that were just underperforming. So he goes out there. Bryce Huff doesn't even dress. He ends up playing pretty well, impactful in the Super Bowl.
He most certainly did.
And then re-injures himself during the Super Bowl. And I give him all the credit in the world. Remember, Derek Gunn broke that story on our show.
That he got injured again during the game.
Super Bowl. And that's such a great way to go out. And if you remember, when he had his retirement press conference, he did say that he went into the meeting with Howie Roseman and said, I had a conversation with the big man upstairs, talking about the Holy Lord.
He went in.
Whatever Howie Roseman says, that's going to be my fate.
But he went in thinking he was coming back, too. He went into the meeting thinking he was going to come back.
And Howie Roseman basically told him, I can't have you come back after winning a Super Bowl. Like, go out like this. This is great. Well, once the team gets desperate, now they start looking at every possible option, and Brandon Graham is one of them.
Can I say no?
Why?
Because I'm not interested in doing the revival tour because I just don't believe right now that needs to be done. Now, if you talk about getting us through the bye week and things like that, and we talk about it still, we want to talk about checking it on out, sure. Do I think it's a panic move? Yes. I think it's a panic move.
Oh, I'm not thrilled about it, but I 20% of the snaps?
I think it's a panic move if you do it. So, I mean, it's if you do it, fine if you want to do it, but to me, it looks like a panic move. So they know more about their personnel than I do. I will be, wow, the Eagles blinked. The Eagles blinked. They told us that they were good, and they're not good.
Well, how much is the panic move because of Zadarius Smith retiring, right? Like, that was not a part of their plans, that he just ups and retires, and they go, damn, we need somebody.
But Zadarius Smith wasn't part of the plan. Zadarius Smith was somebody who walked in off the street.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
Look, I was not thrilled with the pass. I'm still not thrilled with the pass rush.
No, what I'm saying to you is that Zadarius Smith wasn't part of their plan. Zadarius Smith was somebody that they came in and put a Band-Aid on the plan. I'm gonna tell I'm not into it because what it will be though is that it's going to tell me, yeah, the plan that we thought we had, yeah, we don't believe in it, and we're not believing in the guys that we have.
Can I say I didn't believe in the plan?
Oh, no, you didn't.
I never believed in the plan.
No,
with all due respect to Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, I was not ready for these two guys to be the guys, right?
You didn't.
That's why I was having the conversations about trading for some of those big-name players that were out there, because there is a big difference between players like Myles Garrett and Crosby and Trey Hendrickson to Nolan Smith, who's supposed to be your guy. And I have not seen enough to call him the guy. Now, unfortunately, the injury's very unfortunate, the injury that he sustained.
It is.
But there's a big fall off from what you had last year to Jalix Hunt being a 60-70% edge rusher, snap count-wise.
Here's what I do want to see, though, is I am one of those people who wants to see if you have these guys and you draft these guys and you develop these guys, I want these guys to have a bigger sample size to show what they can do. And it's not 7 games.
But you're not bringing Brandon Graham in to play 50% of the snaps.
I understand, but he's going to take opportunities away from somebody. He's going to at some point take something away from somebody. And more importantly, there was a reason why Howie Roseman didn't want him back. There was a reason, right?
Sure. There's also reasons why you're desperate.
Correct. But there's a reason why you didn't. If he thought he had a lot in the tank and he thought that he was going to be a great influence on the young guys and he thought that it was a great move, he would have been like, sure, we'll take you back. All right. You want to be back? He wanted to be back. He said, I walked into the meeting thinking I was coming back. I walked out.
Sure.
I'm retired. So to me, Howie Roseman didn't want him back. There's a reason Howie didn't want him back.
And now they're realizing that they're desperate. Think about yesterday, right? So Nolan Smith's out because of injuries. Zadarius Smith ups and retires out of nowhere.
Okay.
The guys that played on the edge, Jahad Campbell at times, right? Not all the time. It was depending on the packages, but it's sometimes he was coming off the edge.
Jahad Campbell for the second game.
Yes.
Of his now since his college career. He did have some play in his college career where he played off the edge.
Jalix Hunt played 75% of the snaps yesterday.
Okay.
And not very effective. The pick six, but that was different circumstances.
Gotcha.
Jalix Hunt played 75% of the snaps yesterday. Josh Uche, who's been okay for them. Patrick Johnson played 38% of the snaps, and I would say 38 almost ineffective percent of the snaps yesterday. And then Azeez Ojulari, who showed flashes the first 2 weeks he dressed, he played 4 snaps yesterday on defense. So clearly they don't feel very confident having him on the field, even though you're missing Nolan Smith and you have a lot of guys that are kind of playing out of position right now. Because Jahad Campbell's playing out of position. Patrick Johnson's more of a special teams guy. He's playing out of position. So it is a desperation move, John. You're not wrong. It's just you're going to bring this guy in. This guy, I want to say this guy. You're going to bring in Brandon Graham to play a quarter of the snaps, maybe?
Okay.
By the way, it's not like he's going to step on the field and be great. It's going to take time.
By the way, what happened this year that has been part of the problem for the Eagles? What's been part of the problem for the Philadelphia Eagles this year?
Well, there's been a lot of them, but go on.
Drama?
Sure.
What did Brandon Graham bring to the Eagles last year?
He brought some drama.
He brought significant drama twice. I don't want drama. I don't want drama. I don't want more of it. I don't want more of it. And I bet you that played into Howie Roseman's decision to say, I don't need drama around a young team. I don't need talk. Tell him what's going on in the locker room. Tell him what's going on between players.
Now, we have said, and you said it, that maybe it's a little too young on defense.
I have. I have.
And like the Jalen Carter spitting.
But you know what I need, though? I don't need the locker room to have ears.
Gotcha.
And I don't need the locker room to have a mouth. I don't need people hearing on the radio what happened in the locker room. I don't need the locker room here. I don't need the players having their personal business broadcast over the radio.
I don't think the Brandon Graham show will be back this year.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. That kind of crap can't go on, and it shouldn't go on, and it never should be a part of. It shouldn't be a part of the equation. And I guarantee you, 100%, that went into part of the Eagles' thinking when they said, "Yeah, we're good. Brandon, retire."
Well,
and look,
edge rush-wise, they're not good.
Look, Brandon's a great dude. He's a great dude. But last year, he brought a lot of drama to that team, and it caused turmoil. It caused turmoil.
And they won a Super Bowl.
I understand, but it caused turmoil. This team doesn't need more turmoil. And that's never good. It's never good to have the turmoil. Don't have it.
All right. What do you want the Eagles to bring back Brandon Graham? 610-632-0975. I'm in favor of it because they're desperate. All right? I'm not sitting here going, yeah, do it. I would love to see BG.
You're not. No, I get you. I get you.
They're desperate. they don't have bodies on the edge. They have bodies.
Oh, they have bodies.
But they're
all
not that great. And that's my biggest concern with this football team. Well, Tula doesn't help. All right, coming up next, this show, John, thinks about the little things, which is why we're true football guys here on
that's
Kincade
always good to hear.
Salciunas. Something from yesterday that I guarantee you will go unnoticed by many. I won't allow that to happen, though. And John gives his 3 NFL observations from the weekend slates. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts dazzles. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Birds head up to Minnesota and beat the Vikings. Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, 158.3, which is the 3rd time in franchise history for the Birds. Hurts finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And here is how it sounded when Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown iced the game, courtesy of Fox.
It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lose a few key players yesterday, including center Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also left the game early as well. Andrew Checo will join us at 7:55 for his analysis of the Eagles' win. The Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. This update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Your favorite songs shouldn't have to wait for Wi-Fi. Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
My bad, too, Azeez Ojulari. I forgot that he exited the game yesterday. There was a slew of injuries yesterday for the Eagles. That's why he only played 4 snaps. But still, edge rusher is a position of need for this football team, and that's why Brandon Graham could come back. Do we have any text messages on BG? Sean Rodman in for Connor today. Connor was at the game yesterday. We'll check in with Connor.
Join us later.
Around 9:30 today. We'll have our Andrew DeCecco will be calling in around 7:55. But we've obviously been talking about the Eagles all day today following their win over the Vikings yesterday, improving to 5-2. Our question is whether or not Sunday was the tipping point that you believe we'll start to see that Super Bowl contender again, or do you still have a lot of questions? But we just got into the conversation about Brandon Graham and whether or not you'd want to see him come back with the Eagles. What do we got?
Yeah, one person checking in saying, can we stop with the Brandon Graham return? He's a 37-year-old pass rusher that won't solve the problem. The draft or trade will. I'm still grateful for the strip sack in the Super Bowl 52 against Brady.
Oh, I'm not saying it'll solve the problem.
We love Brandon Graham, but
I'm not saying it'll solve the problem. I hope that's I'm not he's not going to go out there and get 15 sacks.
When we're having to have players on the team intervene between guys like Jalen and AJ and having to play peacemaker and having to do stuff like that because of conflicts in the locker room, because of talking and everything like that, I don't want to bring back a guy who was part of that either, despite how great he is. And he is a great person. Brandon's a great person. But Brandon is also a guy who talks. He's a guy who shares way too much. Loose lips sink ships. And don't deal with it. Do not want to deal with it. This team's already having problems dealing with it. Internal drama needs to be internal, not external. And I do
I'm
think
not as worried about that as you are.
Wow,
really,
I've seen too much of it.
I've seen too much of quarterbacks being comfortable, and I need something. I need a body. All right, real quick before we get your 3 observations, something that I want to point out that would go unnoticed unless it's Kincade and Salciunas, Johnny. Man, was it nice to see a competent return game yesterday. Xavier Gibson, our man Andrew DeCecco, has been saying that he's going to get an opportunity soon. He got it yesterday. Him and Will Shipley at least got the ball back to like the 30-yard line yesterday. It wasn't Tank Bigsby dropping the ball and then all of a sudden they're starting on the 15. They were right around the 25, 30-yard line every time the Vikings put up points and had a kickoff, and I appreciate that. It took a while.
Except when Missy Elliott was off yesterday with his giving them the poor kickoff and then the stupid.
No, the Eagles return game.
No, I understand. But I'm just saying I didn't think special teams was great. The return game was okay, though. That was good. That was the only part of the special teams that I liked yesterday.
Yes.
That was the only part of it that I liked yesterday.
Great.
Yeah.
But, again.
Only part of it I didn't like.
Not starting on the 17-yard line is good for an offense. So I just wanted to point that out.
That is very good.
Hit us with some football music there, Sean Rodman. And, Johnny, your 3 observations.
All right. Can I tell you, and this isn't, if it is old man waving his hand at the cloud, I'm fine with it. I'm tired of the 59-yard plus field goals all across football. They've remade the record books across the NFL in a matter of 7 weeks. It's stupid. It was ridiculous. This is so stupid that we're seeing games affected this much by the kicking game.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think it's old man. I don't think it's old man yelling at clouds. The Green Bay Packers, my God, did they benefit from it? So Brandon McManus out with injury. So they have to find a kicker out on the scrap heap. They've signed Lucas Haversick.
Yes, Haversick.
Household name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right before halftime yesterday, down 10 points, he drills a 61-yard field goal with ease.
With ease. He beat it by 4 or 5 yards.
And then Green Bay gets the ball to start the second half. They go downfield to score. It's a tie football game all of a sudden.
That's because they're letting them manipulate these footballs all week long. They're letting them, and it's Jay Feely. Jay Feely's running for Congress in Arizona, or he'd join us and talk about it, our buddy. They're manipulating these balls.
Yeah.
They're manipulating them by the temperature that they're kept all week.
Yeah.
They're oiling them. They've changed the game.
By the way,
they're going to totally rewrite team record books. Every team's kicking record book is going to be rewritten this year. It's stupid.
By the way, before that 61-yard field goal, the play before was the touchback.
Right.
So you start at the 35. You
It's
need
so
you
dumb.
need to get one 15-yard completion. You're in field goal range.
It's so dumb.
It's crazy.
I can't I mean, I can't stand it.
Vic Fangio doesn't like it either.
I'm going to observe this, is that the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders game was eye-opening. If the Dallas Cowboys had not dealt one of the greatest defensive players, who was great in the Arizona game, by the way.
Yes, he was. He was spectacular for the Packers.
They had a weapon in their disposal that somehow Dallas goes, yeah, we're okay. We're going to give away one of the best defensive players in the game in Micah Parsons. If Dallas had kept Micah Parsons, the Eagles right now would be neck and neck with the Cowboys. I truly believe it.
Before the season started,
It's right there.
Before the trade happened, I said the Cowboys would come in second place in the NFCs. That's how much of a fall-off I thought the Commanders would have. Still like a 9-8 record.
Well,
but you trade Micah Parsons, and now you're like Jerry Jones. Does he go to bed at night last night happy because they won 44-22, or does he realize, damn, imagine what we could have been had I not done that?
Yeah, it could have been that. And what did I tell you? Can I just say it? It's not even Halloween. I did tell you that before Halloween, the division race would be over, which I believe it will be. The Eagles' magic number is 9 today. I think it'll be 7 by next week. And that the Commanders would not be a part of anything. And I told you, don't pick those Commanders games at the end of the year if you're an Eagles season ticket holder, because the Commanders were not for real. But some people still manage to believe. And overall, what I'm going to tell you right now is the last observation I have is that I don't understand how the NFL is this sort of not average, but just this even across the board. I've never seen an NFL season getting this close to Halloween where all the teams that are in contention, you would say, for Super Bowl, all seem to be around the same record and all seem to have some sort of flaw that they've got to work out. Usually there's some team or two that are running away with things a little bit, and everybody's got to catch up. This is a really, really interesting season. I think it's going to be one of the most fun and entertaining Novembers and Decembers that we've ever seen, with teams jockeying for position. And it could lead to one of the best playoff seasons we've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one division that it's not over, but the Colts being 6-1,
I think it is over.
The Jags losing.
I think it is over.
Trevor Lawrence stinks, dude.
I'm
sorry. Like, I still can't believe they paid him all that money. They put his name up on the stadium. He stinks.
Cohen's still going to manage to get that team where they're competing for a while.
Yeah, they'll be around 500.
They're going to compete for that. Yeah.
Texans, because of their defense, will be around 500. But the Colts are going to win that division. 6-1, unbelievable. Daniel Jones, man, again yesterday.
Shane
Ridiculous.
Steichen with the best offense in the NFL, and Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Could it be 2 years in a row where the Giants discard the best offensive talent in the NFL?
It's already there. Like,
I mean, it's incredible.
I know it's only 7 weeks in, but
they put Saquon out. It's Delco Trash Day, where they put Saquon out for the trash. Because in Delco, if you put something good out in the trash, if you put it out the night before, it's gone before you even go to bed, because people drive around in Delco
they got
and pick
it in my
up.
neighborhood too.
So if Daniel Jones, the 2 years in a row, the Giants just are terrible.
Yeah.
They're a terrible organization.
They're a bad organization. All right, coming up next, you're allowed to win and still not be totally satisfied. So much has been made about A.J. Brown. Well, Devontae Smith had a very candid post-game press conference yesterday. We'll play that for you coming up next, and we'll talk about what needs to happen next for this Eagles offense, despite them being the side of the ball that won you the game yesterday. Well, Jalen Hurts won you the game yesterday. We'll also check our text line. Was that the turning point? And Brandon Graham, do you want to see him back? 610-632-0975. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
On
These are always fun. We've been waiting for them, too. It's been a little bit of a while. Well, we had to wait 273 days between losses, and then we had 2 in a row.
Yeah, and I hated every second of it, Johnny.
Yeah, it did.
I don't want to lose. I want the Eagles to keep on winning.
People were overreacting, though. A little bit. A little overreacting. It was a little bit of overreaction.
Dude, losing to the Giants was a bad freaking
No,
loss.
that was terrible.
I think any reaction was fair.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That was a really, really freaking bad loss.
Oh,
to the New York Giants, and they needed a bounce-back win, and they got that yesterday in Minnesota, beating the Vikings 28-22. Now, the big day offensively, well, it was Jalen Hurts, but the big day in terms of receiving was Devontae Smith. 9 catches, over 180 yards, career-long 79-yard touchdown reception on the play-action pass. He had time to speak with members of the media yesterday, and it was a pretty candid conversation. Take a listen.
Obviously, the run game is still kind of struggling. What does it say about the pass? The fact that you guys, despite all that, kind of still do?
I think it's only a matter of time. Today we showed some things, getting on the center, play action, and things like that. Things that we, don't necessarily normally do. Now we may get teams out of the crazy stuff to stop the run. Now they know there's a possibility they're going to do this. So now we just can't sell out on the run the whole time. So, take it week by week, continue to build on it.
Is there a reason why we haven't, when you guys have been under center, primarily run?
That I don't know.
These are the connections you guys have been trying to get out there all year to finally put it out there. What's that like at this point?
It was only a matter of time, but it's still things that we can grow in certain areas. Still some things that we left out there that we didn't get a chance to capitalize on. So just continue to take it week by week, continue to grow.
Do you feel like the offense is starting to figure out some of the stuff that it can lean on?
I would say we're still working on it. Like we said, run game. It wasn't, that effective today. We had some big hits, and then we had some that lost a lot. So it's just about finding that balance. And today, doing the things that we did just allowed us to open up the pass game a little more.
Were you surprised at a certain point that in those key moments you were getting those kind of looks?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. But we knew they was going to do that. We knew they were going to sell out on the run. Things like that. We got certain formations, so wasn't surprised at all. Just glad that collectively, offensively, players and coaches has been on the same page to get certain things called.
So a couple of things from that. And first off, I love that Devontae Smith had such a great game. And right away, he's still saying, yeah, but we can get better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he has 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown.
It was unbelievable.
And he says, yeah, but we can get better. And he points out the rushing attack, the run offense, right? Like, he understands that. Nick Sirianni talks about the details, right? Everything comes down to the details. Devontae Smith, in terms of blocking for Saquon Barkley. Now, the running isn't necessarily an issue on the outside. It's just not getting hit 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which happened a couple of times yesterday. But I love that he did that. I also, again, candid. We did things today we don't normally do. Like plays under center, play action passes. And then at one point, Jeff McClain asks him, do you have an explanation or a reason why you guys don't pass out of under center often? And he goes, I don't.
Correct. And
clearly they want to do things.
That's honesty. And that's honesty from Devontae Smith. And that's a guy who's been, he's coming out of one of the best programs in college football.
Yeah.
So he knows how things are supposed to be done. He knows how things are supposed to be done. So he's gonna give you an honest answer. He's gonna give you a candid answer.
Yeah, I liked it. I apprecied it.
I love Devontae.
And there's a lot more. And a lot of it was his success yesterday and Jalen Hurts' success.
Notice how he always deflects, though.
Yeah, he's spectacular.
He always deflects away.
But he had such a good game yesterday. But I appreciated, to your point, I appreciated the honesty in that. Like,
do you know why?
That's a guy that could have celebrated just all day yesterday. Do I know why? What?
Do you know why, though? Because he's that. That's exactly who his DNA is.
Yeah.
He has his great days. But he keeps his mouth shut when he has his 2-catch day.
Sure.
When he has his 2-catch day for 14 yards, he keeps his mouth shut. He goes to work. Then he has his 180-yard day. It's the same stuff. It's all about the team with Devontae Smith.
But I appreciate the message still saying, hey, coach, let's keep doing this. I imagine he talks to him during meeting rooms, and for whatever reason they don't do certain things. And yesterday it almost was a necessity because of the injury to Cam Jurgens, and look at how it worked out for him. All right, the question is, though, like this rushing attack for the Eagles offense.
Which is incredible. How did they manage to break it?
So,
how did they break the most prolific rushing attack the NFL had seen in this century?
Again, I don't know if it's necessarily that they broke it.
You don't think so?
I'll stand by what I've been saying since the offseason and how I thought Jalen Hurts was going to have to do more in order to win this year because defenses are going to, and you heard Devontae straight up say it, they're going to sell out to stop the run. Now, credit to Jalen and the Eagles offense in the Super Bowl because that's what the Chiefs did. They sold out to stop the run, and they played so well in the passing attack, and we haven't really seen that consistently this season. I wonder, John, if a game like yesterday helps the rushing offense next week. Because now that the Giants saw, oh, boy, they unlocked the passing offense, even though it wasn't necessarily play calls. It was Jalen just being great with AJ and Devontae and improvising mid-play. Maybe they can't sell out to stop the run next week. So maybe Saquon has his next week. And that's what needed to happen. They need this Eagles offense passing attack to play well because then defenses will not have 8 men in the box anymore. That's what they're doing. They're selling out to stop Saquon.
That's what they're doing.
So I don't think it's that they broke it. I think it's just the way defenses are doing whatever they can to not let 26 beat them.
So you don't think it's broken?
I think the offensive line is banged up. But I don't think like all of a sudden they don't know how to call the right plays.
So you do think this is more of an offensive line issue than a running
offensive line, and the defense is doing whatever they can to stop the run. That's what they're going to try to stop more. And I go back every time to the Jeremy Fowler executive poll. Jalen Hurts coming in ninth in the top 10 quarterback ranking tells you what the league thinks about Jalen Hurts. But Saquon Barkley came in at number 1 as running back. So that tells you what they think about Saquon Barkley. That's the guy that they want to stop. They're going to sell out to stop him. They're going to let Jalen try to beat them. And for a while, it kind of worked. Even though the Eagles were 4-2 going into last week, it's not like the passing offense was prolific. And so they win yesterday, and it looked better. Maybe that helps out the running offense next week.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I just sort of feel like there could be something where we're being a little short-sighted on it. That maybe we're putting too much on just the offensive line when the predictability has nothing to do with the offensive line being beaten up.
I got you.
There's ways to camouflage what you're doing. And when everybody says, every analyst who works every Eagles game talks about the fact that when they watch film, they know exactly what the Eagles are doing when they do the film stuff.
Oh, that is a fair point to make. Well, we can ask Andrew DeCecco that question because Andrew DeCecco will be joining us coming up next for his check-in post-game, right? He watched the game. The Eagles won. Let's see what Andrew DeCecco thinks about that. That comes your way next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts was perfect. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Birds went up to Minnesota and beat the Vikings. Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, a 158.3 passer rating, the third in franchise history. Hurts finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and here is how he iced the game, courtesy of Fox.
It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lose a few players due to injury, including Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as well also left the game early. Andrew DeCecco joins us next for his analysis of the Eagles win. And the Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. This update is brought to you by Gary Barbera's on the Boulevard. Gary Barbera is going to put your rear in a Wrangler, Ram, a Cherokee, even a Grand Cherokee, starting at just $16,666. So push your tush to Barbera. Details at DallasStillSucks.com. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade Salciunas, 6 to 10 a.m. Middays with Marks, 10 a.m.
7:55 here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5. The Fanatic. It's a Victory Monday brought to us by our friends at the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit nopaybryan.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. This man does a tremendous job all over the station. Of course, you hear him on Unfiltered for the entire show on Fridays, and he joins us in studio for 2 hours on Thursdays. And on Mondays, we get the check-in. Our man, Andrew DeCecco. Andrew, good morning, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Jalen Hurts, let's start there. How impressed were you by his performance yesterday, seemingly kind of putting the team on his back at times?
Well, yeah, I was very impressed. He was one of just 3 quarterbacks in Eagles history to record a perfect passer rating. But beyond that, guys, it was his ability to remain poised and make plays outside of structure, especially with what the Vikings were throwing at him. Jalen Hurts was unflappable, and there were many times in that game where he took it upon himself to direct traffic and push the ball down the field. So I think without Jalen Hurts' lack of a better term, heroics, that game probably, it comes out a different way. But I just thought he did a really good job being the field general and keeping the offense on schedule.
What was the thing that impressed you the most about the play of the wide receivers?
Coming back, that's a good question, John. Coming back to the football, I can think of that 3rd and 13 late in that game where A.J. Brown comes back for the football. They're very they communicate to Kevin Patullo, to Jalen Hurts, about what they're seeing out there. So like Devontae Smith, what he saw was the middle of the field being wide open. And I just think they have such a good understanding and a feel for the game. And then when the ball's in the air, it's theirs or it's no one's. So they know that they go out there and make a play, and Jalen trusts them to go out there and make those plays. But I just think that with the intent that they run their routes and how involved they are and how much they're able to kind of gather feedback and give it to the coaches, I just think that really speaks to their football acumen as well.
I understand that they work on broken plays at practice, but let's face it, that's the players just being elite-level players, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I don't necessarily give a high grade to Kevin Patullo because they thrived on broken plays yesterday. But I'll ask you, Andrew, does a game like yesterday maybe open up the playbook a little bit more where they utilize the middle of the field at times where a lot, and you and I have talked about it a lot, and John, we've talked about it a lot, they've been very conservative pretty much all season.
Yeah, you would think so, but until it happens, I need to believe it. I need to see it before I believe it. So there's been blips where you see the offense and what it could ultimately be. You see a high-octane passing attack, and then the following week it looks a little bit different. So I need to go out there and see it first. What I will say is I thought they did a nice job of going under center. They went under center 20 times against the Vikings, and you saw how that opened things up in the passing game, especially on that Devontae Smith 79-yard touchdown, where the middle of the field was wide open. It was one-on-one, Devontae Smith, Isaiah Rodgers, and they took advantage of the aggressive nature and tendencies of the Minnesota Vikings. But those are certain things that you can build off of in that game, Andrew. The Eagles tried some different things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, but I certainly think that's a game where you can build off of, and now all of a sudden you're forcing defense to play a little bit more honestly.
We've been talking about the rumors, the murmurs that Brandon Graham may be coming back. And when you look at the pass rush or the lack thereof, what do you think he could offer? What do you think the need is? And, how much could potentially benefit that room?
Well, first and foremost, what he brings is a positive veteran influence to the locker room that already has a lot of pillars in Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. They have a lot of leaders there, and Brandon Graham sort of amplifies that. But on the field, John, at 37 years old even, the last time we saw Brandon Graham in the Super Bowl, and I even go back to that L.A. Rams game late last season where I thought that was the best game that Brandon Graham played all season, he is really good at getting off And like he'll get off the line very quickly, but he's also a very efficient run defender, which is something that the Eagles edge rushers right now could, they leave something to be desired at times when it comes to setting the edge without Nolan Smith. And so he'll bring that, but he also brings veteran savvy, and he knows how to beat tackles, and he can also help some of those younger players, which is what Zadarius Smith was doing when he was there, and kind of get them to hone in on some of those details. So that would be a really good signing, but expectations should always be tempered because he's not all of a sudden going to be playing 25, 30 snaps and lighting the world on fire. That's just not realistic, but it would be a very positive addition for multiple reasons.
What did you make of the defensive performance for the Eagles yesterday?
Up and down, but I thought there were more positives than negatives, certainly. Anytime you get 2 takeaways, and you could look at, it's Carson Wentz, he's prone to doing that. But you look at that Jalen Hunt interception, for example. There was a simulated pressure where they sent Zach Bond, Jalen Hunt dropped into coverage, Jalen Carter tattoos Carson Wentz, and it's an interception. And you're seeing all 3 levels of the defense sort of complement each other. That's the perfect marriage, the ideal marriage that you look for. Drew Makuba, he missed the tackle on Justin Jefferson on, I believe it was a 2nd and 11, and it goes for 40 yards. He comes up with a big interception, and he had a nice tackle against Xavier Smith, the running back.
Oh, dude, that was a great hit.
At the 1-yard line, and showed some physicality there. So there were moments that you can point to that they need to be better, but I thought that was a good rebound from that unit coming off that Giants game where the dam sort of broke for them. But certainly something to build off of. They had 2 sacks in that game. Moro Jomo got another sack in a critical moment. He did the same thing against Baker Mayfield against the Buccaneers. And Josh Uche gets the edge rushers back on the board with his first sack as an Eagle. So, yeah, I mean, I thought there was a lot more good than bad. And let's not forget Nakobe Dean. He played 31 out of the Eagles' 69 defensive snaps. When Nakobe's in the game, he brings a toughness, a physicality, and a swagger that I think the defense needs. And you could even see that really evident against that play where he had tackled Xavier Scott for a 4-yard loss in the 3rd quarter. He knows exactly where to be on the field. He's highly intelligent. I think the defense really thrives off of it.
Can we speak of the play of Jordan Mailata? Because it was highlighted a few times by Greg Olson yesterday as far as he's not had his best season. And I wonder how much is physical, the physical toll of whether he's fighting through, or how much has just been he's not having a great year.
I would push back on yesterday. He didn't have his best game, certainly, but I think by and large this season he's been the Eagles' one of the more consistent linemen that they've had. And yeah, I mean, yesterday it was plain as day. He didn't have his best game, but I think the person we should be talking about and have more concern about is Cam Jurgens,
big time,
who of course left the game with the knee injury, and it put Brett Toth in there at center. And anytime you're ruled out with a knee injury and you need further testing, that's something that has my I'll be keying in on and reporting on throughout the day. And that's kind of been the story of this offensive line, guys, is they've been really banged up. Landon Dickerson's a warrior. He plays through anything and everything if he's able to. Jordan Mailata's been, and Lane Johnson have sort of been the rocks on the outside, and it's really been the interior that struggled, though I do believe that Tyler Steen has played much better than anyone could have expected, except for me. I've been pretty bullish on him.
Our man Andrew DeCecco joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline. Andrew, how much could yesterday's performance in the air benefit Saquon Barkley next week against the Giants?
You would think a lot, but the running lanes just aren't there, guys. And it seems like the passing game's going to have to be a facet that they hang their hat on, even though they'd ideally not like to. That foundationally they want to be a run-first team. But, and I think you mentioned this earlier in the show, Andrew, you could even see some of the frustration with Saquon when the holes aren't there. And that's something that I've noticed even late in that Chiefs game back to week 2, where he's almost pressing a little bit because he's so accustomed to being able to run uncontested. But that's something that they're going to have to continue to figure out and continue to work on, create different ways and different run schemes to get him freed up. But I don't know that the passing game is going to be an avenue to free up Saquon Barkley, because the Eagles haven't proven, there's no evidence this season that they can be efficient in running the football. They're going to continue to try it. He had 18 carries yesterday, but until that area of the offense is really fortified, and I should say opened up a little bit, it's going to be somewhat of a compressed offense, and you're leaving yourself one-dimensional.
Considering what happened 2 weeks ago, and the fact that you get that other shot at the Giants, how important is it for the Eagles to make a huge statement on Sunday to show that they really corrected the mistakes we saw from that Thursday night?
Yeah, it's important, especially a team in the Giants that just allowed a ton of points to the Denver Broncos. But the Eagles are a much better team than the Giants. But all three levels, and we don't have to relitigate this, they fell short of the mark. They need to be able to respond, play clean football. There was a lot of untimely penalties in that game. And now you have how Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, how they factor into the game and how they play against your defense. So Vic Fangio in a second matchup, I think you take that any day of the week. Offensively, there's going to be opportunities to push the ball down the field again. The Eagles have to be the aggressor. They can't go conservative, and they have to play a complete game all four quarters, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And then special teams, it looks like they've uncovered something there in the return game. I've mentioned Will Shipley being secure in that area, but Xavier Gibson's another player, guys, that I talked about. And that 37-yard return on that final drive that the Eagles had to close things out is something that probably gets lost a little bit in the grand scheme, but it looks like they've sort of alleviated that concern.
I just want to read you the tease that I wrote down earlier in the show, Mr. DeCecco. I said, this show thinks about the little things, which is why we are true football guys. But seriously, something from yesterday that will go unnoticed by many. And we took the time to talk about Xavier Gibson and the return game. I hope you're proud of us.
I am.
That was Andrew. Andrew picked that up big time.
Look, man, this is a show of football, guys.
I wasn't happy with the special teams other than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jake Elliott missing a big field goal, but
and
the kicks.
And the kicks.
But at least they weren't starting on their own 15 like every time the Vikings put up points. Listen, brother, great job as always. I watched a lot of the clips posted from your podcast. You're doing a tremendous job. Can you plug it for the people?
Yeah, it's called Birds Buzz. It's brought to you by 97.5 The Fanatic. You can find it on any major podcasting platforms. And I record every Thursday after I join you guys from 8 to 10. I go and record that, and that's published about 6 o'clock every Thursday evening ahead of Thursday Night Football. And it'll be a mix of everything that I've learned throughout the week, previewing the upcoming game, and any pertinent news that happens, which could be, who knows, the new addition of an old friend at edge rusher.
Sunday morning treadmill, perfect content.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect content. You were my company. You helped. You got me paid.
Great job as always.
Good job, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Andrew. We'll talk to you later on this week. There's our man, Andrew DeCecco.
I'm telling you, he churns out the content.
Yeah, he just gets so much information out. It's spectacular.
He's like Bruce Wayne.
All right.
He just is that sort of that deadpan delivery. He's got it all under control.
He's great. All right, coming up next, Monday morning radio host. We do what we do best. Even though this is a show of football, guys, we do what we do best. We break down what other people say. Nick Sirianni, his press conference. We've got 4 clips for you. We react to them all. Coming up next, Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. this every single Monday following an Eagles game, unless they play on a Thursday. Then we have to do it on Friday. But the Eagles played yesterday. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 28-22. Nick Sirianni then spoke afterwards. So it's time now for the Monday morning radio host.
Now, the Monday morning radio host on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And it's brought to us by who, Mr. Rodman?
That would be Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
All right, we get a couple of clips from Nick Sirianni's post-game press conference. We play them, and then we break them down. That's our Monday morning radio host. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about Jalen Hurts and how dangerous he is on scramble plays.
He had a couple big plays on broken plays. That's where Jalen Hurts is so dangerous. You know, he's able to run on a scramble play. He's able to throw on scramble plays. So made a lot of good plays like that. Obviously, that one was one of them. Had multiple. You know, I think we had one to Dallas, one to Devontae for a big gain, one to AJ on another third down. So there was a bunch of those. And the scramble plays, John, don't always look the same, right? Sometimes, you know, if there's a void in the deep zone, you can take it high. Sometimes if there's not, you take it back. Sometimes you just flash with the quarterback. But those are things that we work tirelessly on as a unit, as a team, as a coaching staff, and because we know we have the abilities to make plays and big plays off of that.
I'll say for a third time this show, John, they work on it in practice. That's true. I don't give them credit for it, though. That's Jalen Hurts.
That is Jalen Hurts improvising.
And that's also AJ seeing the finger point, and that's communication, right? That's going downfield. It's also when guys' heads are in the game, because the A.J. Brown play earlier this year where he was not running downfield.
And he kept running this time.
And you scored a touchdown
He didn't quit on the play. That was excellent. That's excellent.
I don't credit really the coaching staff for it.
No, he doesn't get – you cannot find a way to spin that into a Kevin Patullo gets credit for it.
Yeah, you know, we work on it in practice. Like,
no, you know what you do? No, they do work on that in practice.
No, they do.
But that's a quarterback and a wide receiver knowing just keep the play alive.
Right.
But man,
that's what that is.
But does that quarterback have beautiful vision? He has vision of the field that is just exceptional. And ice water in the veins.
He took over yesterday. On that play, by the way, the first of many plays that were broken down that were extended because of improvisation, here was Nick Sirianni talking about his confidence for going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, I think that's a stat that's never – I don't know. We always look at just like passing yards, and we look at like touchdowns. Like today, obviously, we had a lot of passing yards, but you know, he's always clutch in those moments. It's why I have the confidence to go for it on the first drive on a 4th and 4, because you know the guys will make plays. Like I know a lot of things. I think there's, you know, sometimes you watch a game, it's like analytics say you should go for it here. Do you trust your players in those moments? That's what you lean on. Yeah, you listen. It's a piece of the puzzle. You listen to the analytics, a piece of the puzzle. You have trust in your players. You have trust in the play call. You have trust in the offensive line. That's what gives you confidence to do that. And Jalen obviously gives you a lot of confidence to be able to do that. And every time we get a 4th down conversion, you know, I look at him and I say, hey, I trust you in these scenarios. Thanks for making me right, because, you know, he makes you right in those. That's good coaching is you know, your players going out and making plays, and them making plays makes you look like a good coach. That's for sure. You know, we're just pumped to get out of a really hostile place. A lot of credit to this stadium, this team, those fans. Like, you know, coming out of a hostile place with a win. You know, we're always looking, do whatever we got to do to win. And then find ways to get better, you know, and that's the players through practice, through their preparation. That's the coaches through our self-scouts and and also our preparation and game planning.
Spit it out! Spit it out!
That's why I celebrated Jeff McClain last week. He was the first person to ever get a one-word answer out of Sirianni.
Oh,
what did you want to say? You were
one thing I was
chomping at the bit before he kept going for another minute.
One thing I was going to give Nick credit for there is that I think Nick always does a spectacular job at deflecting praise from himself.
Sure.
He always, because he says he's self-effacing. Boy, does it, when those 4th down conversions happen, boy, does it make the coach look smart. Does it make the coaching staff look smart? He always tries to give the credit to the players first.
Right.
And I think that shows part of why Nick Sirianni's players love him. He doesn't try to be the genius like some of the coaches do.
Like Mike McDaniel. How's that going?
Yeah, what a jerk.
Now, speaking of always giving praise, he's always got to give praise to his boy, Kevin Patullo. Here he was talking about the halftime adjustments made by the coaching staff.
Yeah, obviously it adjusted as the game went. I think the offensive coaches did a phenomenal job of making adjustments at halftime, and throughout the game. They saw something on the big post to Smitty, and Smitty went out and Jalen went out, made a big time throw, big time catch, and so Jalen has a knack for throwing those deep balls, and our guys can run and get under them. So they saw something where the middle of the field was open. A lot of respect for that coordinator. Coach Flores is a phenomenal coordinator. He had us up all night. Those offensive coaches were sleeping in the building. They're late all night because of the problems and the issues that they create. So a lot of respect to them. They made us work really, obviously, made us get our money's worth this week.
I just kind of hesitate to give Patullo much credit.
He's so overcompensating trying to give credit to Kevin Patullo.
So think about it. Third quarter, they had one drive in the third quarter, and it was the play action touchdown pass, right? Or one full drive in the third quarter. Play action touchdown pass. Devontae Smith, according to Devontae Smith and Jordan Mailata confirming it, saying that Devontae had been talking about it all game, like this is here. Can we please do this? And they wait till the third quarter to try it. And then the fourth quarter, again, that 3rd and 5. Where they ran the ball because they knew they had the tush push in the back of their pocket, and then they don't get any yards on it. Like, I don't give Patullo much credit for that. I really don't. And then the last touchdown was another broken play. What major adjustments did they make?
I'm so tired of the narrative that they give to all of the analysts around the NFL. Well, we look at it as 1st and 9. I'm so tired of that.
Yeah, I am tired of it
because
too.
I think you're limiting your offense. Like, you're limiting it and saying we're trying to go conservative. Let's open it up, baby.
All right, real quick, got one more. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about never taking a win for granted again.
Yeah, again, find a way to win and then identify issues and get better from it. Like, I know how I felt for the last 2 weeks. Not winning, so I'm never going to take a win for granted ever again. I think sometimes in the midst of it, you can be like, man, we'll be there, we'll get there, but we're going to enjoy the heck out of this thing. Then we're going to identify the things that we need to work on. I think we've had some negative plays that obviously put you behind there, and so we'll be, but with some of the things that they were doing, it opens up some other things, like it did in the past game. Like, we're hit Smitty over the middle. They didn't have a lot of guys in the middle when they brought all that pressure, and you have to avoid zones sometimes. Now, Coach Flores does a great job of bringing guys and then dropping guys, but still, when you're bringing guys and dropping guys,
I don't need to hear the flowers for Brian Flores. The only reason why I wanted to play that clip was when he says we're never taking that for granted. I haven't seen it anywhere, but is Victory Monday back?
No.
Are they in the office today?
No, but they had said Victory Monday was not coming back.
So they're at NovaCare today.
No, they're going to be at NovaCare today, but there's no Victory. No, but there's no Victory Monday. No, they had said that it was going to be. That's what they had said. So
well, hopefully, maybe he did give him the day off today. I would hope. Enjoy the freaking win, man. I sound like Andy Reid there. Don't worry about it, man. Enjoy the win. All right, coming up next, we relive the Eagles win over Carson Wentz and the Vikings. Victory Monday montage. If you missed it earlier, it was tremendous. Great work by Sean Rodman. You'll hear that next.
Good job, Rodman.
And then I'll give you my 3 observations from the NFL. Coming up next, Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts dazzles. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Birds head up to Minnesota, and they beat the Vikings yesterday. Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, 158.3, the 3rd time in franchise history for the Birds. Hurts finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and here is how he iced the game, throwing the ball to A.J. Brown late in the game, courtesy of Fox.
It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lose a few players due to injury, including center Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also left the game early. Connor Thomas will be joining us, who was at the game. He'll be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour for what he saw at the game yesterday. The Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. And this update is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Andrew Salciunas will be hosting the True Fan Tailgate before the Eagles' first Giants game this Sunday, October 26th. Brought to you by True Fan Travel and 97.5 The Fanatic. All-inclusive food, drinks, live entertainment, and a short walk to the stadium. Reserve your spot now at phillysportstrips.com. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers Union and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic.
right, I'll give my 3 NFL observations in a few minutes, but what you really want to hear is the great work that Sean Rodman did this morning, put together the Victory Montage Monday, courtesy of Fox.
8 back in coverage this time for Minnesota. Hurts pointing, throwing, trying to find a loose man. It's A.J. Brown. He's in. Touchdown Eagles on the opening drive. Reed, wrong throw. Oh, bad snap. Over the head of Wentz. That's a lag ball. And Wentz will rescue it back there. It was being chased down by Azeez Ojulari. And Wentz had to go rescue that ball back near the 45-yard line. So now a field goal even becomes a greater question for Minnesota. Motion Addison. Blitz coming. Wentz hit as he throws, picked off. Intercepted. There goes Jalen Smith. House call Philadelphia. His first NFL pick leads to his first touchdown. For the next 2 downs. Wentz is rolling out, looking downfield, launches a ball, dangerous pass, intercepted. Picked off by Andrew Makuba, who's the only defensive back for Philadelphia that has a pick. That's his second of his NFL career. Got one-on-one with Jefferson at the top, looking that way. Justin Jefferson couldn't haul it in. Had he done so, that would have been a spectacular play. Cooper DeJean, the Iowa native with plenty of fans here in Minnesota, pumped that ball out of the way. It is Brent Toth at center, with Juergens dealing with an injury. Deep drop for Hurts, trying to find something downfield, and it's DeVonta Smith. He's loose. He's got it. He is gone. Touchdown Eagles. Lightning strike to DeVonta Smith from 79 yards. The longest play of his career. The 2 longest have come against the Vikings. Less than 100 seconds for the third. Here's Hurts stepping up. Flag is thrown far side. Hurts throws near side for DeVonta Smith. It will be good for a first down pending the flag.
Yeah, they're going to get Blake Cashman for illegal contact. He knocked down A.J. Brown. They'll decline that penalty and take the reception. Side of the field. Wentz looks in that direction. He ends up taking the sack, and it's Moro Ojomo. 3rd sack of the season for the 3rd-year man out of Texas, and it comes in a big moment for Philadelphia's defense. Yeah, green shoes. Hurts, collapsing pocket, got away from Turner, being chased by Turner, throws on the move. It is A.J. Brown, and will they mark him right at the sticks? They will at the first down. Barkley's on the sideline, fresh set of downs, 47-yard line plus territory. Bigsby's the back. Hurts looks, throws, open man, DeVonta Smith. Nobody was near him when he caught it. And he's down inside the 30. He's got a new career high in receiving. 183 yards for Smith is the most by an NFL receiver this season. 5 on the pressure. Hurts throws down the seam. A.J. Brown touchdown. His second of the day. All game. 128 yards for Jordan Addison today. First and goal from the 10. It is Wentz. Under pressure, down he goes. It's the 2nd sack of the day. And it's Josh Uche with his first as a Philadelphia Eagle. It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose. And A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game for Philadelphia on a huge 3rd down conversion to the big body Brown. Bunch of offensive struggles at times with Carson Wentz in his 4th consecutive start, but stayed in this game. Too many field goals, not enough touchdowns is the story of the day. And Jalen Hurts put together a perfect passer rating, the 3rd in Eagles history. Nick Foles, Donovan McNabb, the others. And Jalen Hurts' best passing game in over a year in the regular season leads Philadelphia to a 6-point win.
All right, great job, Sean Rodman. Again, that sound courtesy of Fox, and thank you to Nate Tennyson, who was here yesterday cutting everything up. That's a big part
Good
of it
Catholic
as well.
boy, that Nate.
Damn right.
Great job, Nate.
All right, hit me with some football music, Sean, please, because I got to give you my 3 observations from the rest of the NFL.
Dun, dun.
All right, I'll start here. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Meanwhile, Drake May's just walking by saying, "Hey, I'm there too. I was the third quarterback in that draft. I was the 3rd overall pick,
and I'm
having a hell of a season right now, and nobody's talking about it.
How about I'm the best?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, dude.
How about I'm the best?
And I understand you'll always have the 1 versus 2 conversation in every draft. It's always going to be the case. But Drake May yesterday against the Titans, I know the Titans stink, but 91.3% completion percentage on the season. 75%, already 1,700 yards passing, 12 touchdowns and 2 picks. He's got a rating of 116.4 this season.
It's Drake May's third game in a row, though, that he's been great.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, he's doing great.
He's been spectacular. So the New England Patriots, a team that could very well make it to the playoffs. And I think a lot of people thought Caleb Williams would right away be really great. Jaden Daniels, you saw him his rookie season right away be great. Drake May's just been consistent. He's playing pretty good. The Chiefs are back, and the Raiders stink. It's a 2A, 2B. The Raiders suck. They're such a bad football team. This is why you don't draft running backs that early when you're trying to rebuild. And Geno Smith benefited from having DK Metcalf and 75 receivers when he was in Seattle. He stinks. Now, Brock Bowers being hurt's a big part of it. Like, I will admit that. It changes how they can play on offense. But that team stinks. But the Chiefs do not. The Chiefs are back. We do it to ourselves every single year, John. They come out the gate slow, and we go, is this the year? Is this the year where they won't be as great? They're going to win their division again. It's unbelievable. That's just what the Chiefs do. Lastly, I would hate to be a Dolphins fan. Because where's the light at the end of the tunnel? You have Mike McDaniel. If you did not watch or listen to his post-game press conference yesterday, just go back and try to, figure out what the hell he's talking about. Same with Tua. So it's not like if you're a Dolphins fan, you go, all right, we have Tua, we just need a coach. Or we have a coach, we just need a new quarterback. No, you have nothing. You don't have a coach. You don't have a quarterback. Your defense sucks because they didn't like Vic Fangio's hard coaching. If you're a Dolphins fan, what do you look forward to right now?
When you
Devin A-Chain? That's it.
When you watch how that team plays,
soft.
Now you know why they hated Vic Fangio.
They're soft, uninspiring, and every year they're that's a sneaky team because Mike McDaniel, boy genius, boy wonder.
Nope.
I can't believe he's still employed.
When's their bye week? That's when they'll get. That's when they should get fired. That's when they probably fire him.
Let's see. The Dolphins.
Because he's terrible.
The Dolphins' schedule. I will tell you right now.
God, he's terrible.
Man, they not until after November 16th.
Oh, my gosh. That's a late bye.
So this is week 7 that we just watched. 8,
Wow.
9, 10, 11. Not till week 12.
Gosh, that's terrible.
It'll happen before then. It has to. He's horrible. I mean, he's horrible. So I would hate to be a Dolphins fan. Those are my 3 observations.
He's really bad.
On the NFL.
I mean, he's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. All right, coming up next, Nick Sirianni was asked about distractions outside of the building. I'll ask a question. How much of it is on them? We'll talk about that coming up next, and we'll check your text messages. We'll reset the topic from earlier this morning. Friday, we asked you if Sunday would be the tipping point game one way or another. They won. So, do you believe they tipped toward the Super Bowl contenders that you expected them to see? Or do you still have questions? We'll check the text line next as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Sean Rodman producing the show. Connor's going to call in around 9:30 because Connor was in Minnesota yesterday for the Eagles' victory over the Vikings. So we'll hear from Connor. Sean said there's a lot of text messages coming in on the Brandon Graham discussion. What do we got on the text line, Sean?
Yeah, a lot of people in support of Brandon Graham. A couple not so much of coming back for him. But Eric from Virginia says, bring back BG. A team that's willing to admit the plan isn't working and willing to change is a good thing. Sticking with a bad plan is ego gone bad.
Yeah, but look, I'll say this. I don't know if it's a good plan, him coming back. Like, I don't know. Brandon Graham, I love him. And Brandon Graham for 20% of the snaps could be good.
The city loves Brandon Graham.
I don't, we don't know. He could go out there and he could look 37. Or he looks great. We'll see. Like last year.
What's he been doing?
I was so surprised last year how well he played. So surprised. Vic Fangio was surprised. Remember, he ended up playing him way more than anybody expected. What has he been doing? I remember before the season started, he was still training. I remember he was training as if he was still playing because that's what his body is used to. That's what his mind is used to. My question is, what about weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the regular season? Were you still training? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been doing.
Look,
like I just,
you're taking a flyer on the guy. You need help. You do. You desperately need help. Now, Andrew DeCecco, when we had him on, talked about also the veteran leadership, the presence on the field. But I just look at it like I need somebody that can get after a quarterback and set the edge because right now you're not getting that, especially with Nolan Smith's absence because of the injury. You're not getting that right now. It's not like you're bringing him in on a $20 million contract and he's going to play 50% of the snaps. He's going to play the Zadarius Smith role, and you hope that it's an impactful 15 snaps during a game. That's what you hope. What else we got?
Another person checking in is Tucker. Says, BG is no fix, but he is an upgrade over players that are just bodies out there. Any pass rush is better than no to limited pass rush. Go Birds.
Yeah, like he's better than Patrick Johnson because that's not Patrick Johnson's position. It's his position on paper, but he's a special teams guy, right? So BG takes his snaps, the bulk of Patrick Johnson's snaps, but it's not like you're asking Brandon Graham to go out there and line up every snap.
We think he's better than Patrick Johnson.
Sure.
But we assume that he is. Yes. We hope he is.
Now, part of it's also
what he's been doing.
Part of it's also IQ on the field.
Yes,
and
we know that.
Clearly has that.
Yeah, we know he's that.
All right, real quick before we get some more text messages. Nick Sirianni, after the game yesterday, toward the end of his press conference, was sort of asked about a lot of the comments that have been made about his team recently and reacting to some of the things that are coming from in-house. This was Sirianni's response.
I think that it's important to know that we don't really put a lot of stock in anything other than what's being said in our building. We know we have physically tough guys. We know that's the brand of football that we want to play. We know anytime we don't do that, we want to get back on track there. And so it's just about, going to work in the building, try to eliminate every distraction that could possibly be. Anything that we listen to on the outside or anything that we listen to anywhere is just a distraction for us getting better. So it is really just try to, and listen, we're human. We listen, there's things that guys hear. I get it with the questions that we get asked and stuff like that, but try to block out as much as you can and focus on us and our process and ways to get better. All right.
Now, that's a good message, but you have to be the reason. Because let's face it, a lot of the stuff that's been talked about recently, like the feeling of 2023, has come from in-house.
And
it's players talking to reporters.
Correct.
It's Lane Johnson giving an honest response last week about the predictability of the offense. It's Jalen Hurts saying we got to stop playing not to lose following the Week 3 win against the Rams. Well, then do it. Don't play not to lose. So
correct.
A lot of it is being created from themselves and what they're saying or what they're saying anonymously.
And it's one of the reasons why Brandon Graham returning may not be a great idea.
I say I'm not worried about it the way you are.
He was the biggest reason last year was a problem with that. He's the biggest reason. That team had to deal with drama.
Well,
the
when
coaching
he said
staff had
the
to deal with drama.
Jalen and AJ relationship.
Yes. He's the biggest reason. I mean, I don't know.
Well, he already let the cat out of the bag, so what else can he let out?
Well, who knows? Just give him a microphone.
By the way, speaking of Lane Johnson, I saw this tweet from Jeff McClain yesterday. He declined to talk to the assembled media after the game. because, I'm paraphrasing here, this is Jeff McClain's tweet, he didn't want a repeat of last game when his comments about the Eagles' offense being predictable became headline news. He said he didn't want to break up the team. Quote, no more, he said. So, again, that's why I go back to the Nick Sirianni clip. Now, we had no problem with what Lane Johnson said.
I had no problem with it.
We agreed.
But you know what? His honesty caused problems for others.
Well, because then Jalen was asked about it. And
correct. And
Nick
then,
was asked about it. And Kevin was asked about it.
So, in other words, it can't be spun on the media.
No.
It was he doesn't want to say something because he knows that it's going to get told, and then other people are going to have to deal with it.
I mean, that's just kind of the way sports is.
But that is,
at
wow.
this point.
You know, after a win, wow, that's a little scary.
Why is it scary?
Because of the fact that you can't just speak honestly. This team can't speak honestly.
Well, he honestly gave his reason why.
But this team can't speak honestly because the problem is this team can't speak honestly because they have a coach that every one of them has to bend over backwards to cover for. And we heard it, 3 different answers that we played today.
It's Sirianni.
We've heard Nick Sirianni having to throw bouquets towards the way of his offensive coordinator who had nothing to do. Any of the compliments that he offered, he had nothing to do with it.
Those broken down schoolyard plays where Jalen found AJ. Kevin Patullo, man.
I mean, to me, that's the problem.
All because of him.
That's the problem.
What else we got on the text line, Sean?
That's hilarious.
All right, another person on the text line. This is Mike from the Northeast. He says, why is Saquon Barkley one of the worst running backs in the league this season? Kevin Patullo is not made to be an OC. Every week he looks for a way to let the other team back in the game. Every week.
I don't think it's all on Patullo, the ineffective running game.
It is not.
Offensive line is an issue with the injuries, definitely. Andrew DeCecco was talking about the lack of running lanes for Saquon Barkley, where last year they were like, it was like Moses parting the Red Sea last year. Like it was amazing the holes that Saquon Barkley had to run through. Here's the thing, the predictability factor of it, yes. When they were under center, for the most part, until yesterday, they were running the football, and everybody knew that. Maybe Saquon Barkley has lost a bit of a step after 400 total touches last year. That probably played a factor. And also, I will stand by it. The defense is stopping the run. That has been the emphasis from defenses in the NFL this year. We are not going to let Saquon Barkley beat us, which is why, John, I don't know, but I think the running offense will look better next week if they can continue to start piling up these drives where Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball so well, because defenses will now say, oh, damn, we have to drop more guys back in coverage.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's got to happen. You have to then be able to say, in the first quarter of next week's game against the Giants, they have to come out with a game plan where they aggressively throw the football in the first quarter.
And then you run the ball. Set up the throw.
Will they do that?
Run.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not holding my breath.
All right.
I'm not holding my breath. But we'll see. Could happen.
Look,
Patullo could surprise us.
You could very well do a lot of a similar game plan, getting the ball out quick against the Giants, because, look, they're an aggressive front, much like Minnesota was yesterday, and that's why Jalen was trying to get the ball out so quick on some of those curl routes. Until they started breaking down, then he was hitting guys in stride for touchdowns. All right, coming up next, I want to rip the way the league, a lot of reporters, and, of course, fans of a team handled a return yesterday, John. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts was perfect. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Birds headed up to Minnesota yesterday and beat the Vikings. Jalen Hurts had a perfect pass rating, 158.3, the third time a quarterback had in franchise history. Hurts finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And here is how he iced the game, courtesy of Fox.
It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lost a few key players yesterday due to injury, including center Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also left the game early. Andrew DeCecco joined us earlier in case you missed that, and Connor Thomas will be joining us around 9:30 as well in his analysis of the Eagles' win when he was in Minnesota yesterday. The Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. In that pregame coverage, will begin at 6:30. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Hurry, Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep sale ends soon. Find your perfect bed and save big on better rest today. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Fanatic. We'll get back to some of our Eagles texts following the win yesterday, but
I want to bring up something non-Eagles related. I'll be honest, John, kind of disgusted by a lot of the "he's back."
What?
Rashee Rice tweets and
Isn't that nice?
and
Isn't that great?
talking points yesterday. So Rashee Rice served a 6-game suspension, and a lot of people, including his own PR team, by the way, they deserve like $1 million bonuses. Did you see the video of Rashee Rice that was posted before it was announced that he'd be returning yesterday?
No, I didn't.
It was a highlight package of what you would think if you did not know who Rashee Rice was. It looked like he was a guy that had like an Achilles injury.
Like he was coming back because he's a really good dude.
And it looked like he was rehabbing from a bad injury, right? He was doing workouts in the pool and doing all the band workouts.
Is that what they were showing?
On his personal account, so it was his PR team, right? It made it look like he was returning from an injury. No, he was returning from a 6-game suspension because he was driving recklessly over 100 miles per hour, causing an accident, and then running away from the scene.
Yes.
And there were a lot of people, including reporters, that were like doing Ian Rappaport doing the eyeball emoji, like that he was back and everything. And it's like, yes, he's back. And you have to talk about it. Like, you have to point out that Rashee Rice returning makes that Chiefs offense even more dangerous. You saw right away, he scored 2 touchdowns yesterday, right? Like, he's a good football player. But to almost, like, ignore everything that happened and just celebrate a return, I think that's a little wrong and it's uncomfortable.
The one thing I thought was interesting was the guy, I heard it yesterday, is, young man made a mistake. Well, what was the mistake?
Yeah.
Was it driving like 110 miles an hour or whatever it was? Was it running from the crash? Was it lying about running from the crash?
When there's video of you getting out of your car and running from the crash?
No. Which was the young man didn't make a mistake. That's such a load of crap. Which mistake did he make? You can't do like 7 different things wrong and say, well, he made a mistake. No, the mistake would have been the first one. Then when you start doing next, and then more importantly, then try to, through your defense team, try to make it like you're just, I'm Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid.
And earlier this year, when the Chiefs players wore the free 4
oh my gosh
shirt,
like, yeah, that's great.
What do you
free?
That's not understanding life.
Yeah, it's great.
That's some athletes thinking that they are invincible to society.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's just wrong. And look, he does impact the Chiefs in a big way offensively. You saw it right away. And that Chiefs, what do you know? The Chiefs are back, right? They're not going away quietly, and now all of a sudden they're on top of their division. But that I was kind of grossed out by a lot of the reaction yesterday with his return.
Okay, so Tommy Reardon, our buddy, real quick, says to me, I absolutely love Vic. He says to both of us on Twitter, I absolutely love Vic Fangio, but the fact that he was unable to get anything out of Huff is a blemish. He's a guy who was signed for the season, who easily would have had an impact on this defense. The fact that we couldn't find a way to utilize his skill set is a shame. And I said, blemish? Taking a team from 30th in the NFL to 1st in defense with the youngest group and winning a Super Bowl? I said, stop it. Then he says, you took my comment out of context. No, I didn't. You said the fact that he was unable to get anything out of Huff is a blemish. No, it's not. I didn't take you out of context.
Yeah.
Tommy?
No,
give me a break.
He had a hell of a year last year as the defensive coordinator. And sometimes it's also system.
And sometimes
Nnamdi Asomugha was amazing with the Raiders. Comes here, he's not.
And Tommy, what I would tell you is everything that I've heard about what went on with Huff was extremely frustrated, it wasn't catching on, it wasn't connecting with him, and Huff was one of those guys who, it's not working. I'm not getting it. And it's not working. And just one of those frustrated people. I'm not throwing shade at the guy because I'm that guy. I'm one of those people. When I don't if I don't grasp something and I don't like if someone says to me, here, if you said to me, John, I want to show you how to change your oil. And you're showing it to me and I'm not grasping it. I'm like, Andrew, stop. I can just go get my oil changed.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, but that is how it was described. He was giving up. He wasn't putting out full effort.
Yeah.
That's not on Vic Fangio.
Still wondering if he was at the Super Bowl parade or not. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Win. You needed to see the win.
The win, number one. But I love watching Jalen Hurts cook. And I love when they let Jalen Hurts cook.
Yeah.
When they let Jalen Hurts throw the ball
and that's not something that we are accustomed to seeing from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and his ability to throw that deep ball, especially down the sideline, like you saw in the first touchdown pass to A.J. Brown yesterday. The touchdown pass. He's usually spot on every single week. It's just for a couple of weeks it went away, and I don't necessarily know why. I guess it's a feel. I'm not a quarterback in the NFL.
Well, 2 weeks ago was A.J. Stop running.
And say, man, Kevin Patullo better thank Jalen Hurts today.
But that doesn't help. They don't teach you that at summer camp when you're learning how to run patterns. There was nothing about I love it because you usually start with something along the lines that we should be bragging about. How are you today? How you feeling?
Right.
And that's just being honest. Everybody should be bragging had a collective sigh of relief yesterday. The beauty of having a quarterback with a perfect quarterback rating yesterday. That's exactly what you wanted to see, right? That was probably
a win.
70%
on his shoulders to see the win.
That first drive, number one. We can go to that and say that was watching Jalen Hurts cook.
It also shows that sometimes the talent can overcome some of the shortcomings of this team. Like right now, play calling is a shortcoming. But you look at the talent on this team, and you just kept on wondering week in and week out, how do they not find a way to make things work? Devontae Smith yesterday, my God, breakout day, 9 catches, 183 yards, and the touchdown. A.J. Brown, 4 for 121 with 2 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, a key first down earlier in the game. There's 2 Eagles receivers in the exact same spot running into defenders.
Which did not make sense.
No, and it's happened way too many times this year. So on a Victory Monday, I can't help but point out a lot of this was because of Jalen Hurts. But you know what? Thank God we saw it, Johnny.
We're going to love it. Yes, we love it. And we love that we saw it. Because it's a beautiful thing.
Here's the deal. It also shows that sometimes the talent can overcome some of the shortcomings of this team. And right now, play calling is a shortcoming. But you look at the talent on this team, and you just kept on wondering week in and week out, how do they not find a way to make things work? Devontae Smith yesterday, my God, breakout day, 9 catches, 183 yards, and the touchdown. A.J. Brown, 4 for 121 with 2 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, a key first down earlier in the game. He has 3 catches for 18 yards. But really, the story of today was Jalen Hurts. Here was Nick Sirianni after the game yesterday talking about Jalen Hurts and how dangerous he is on those scramble plays.
He had a couple big plays on broken plays. That's where Jalen Hurts is so dangerous. You know, he's able to run on a scramble play. He's able to throw on scramble plays. So made a lot of good plays like that. Obviously, that one was one of them. Had multiple. You know, I think we had one to Dallas, one to Devontae for a big gain, one to AJ on another third down. So there was a bunch of those. And scramble plays, John, don't always look the same, right? Sometimes, you know, if there's a void in the deep zone, you can take it high. Sometimes if there's not, you take it back. Sometimes you just flash with the quarterback. But those are things that we work tirelessly on as a unit, as a team, as a coaching staff, and because we know we have the abilities to make plays and big plays off of that.
Look, you can give all the credit in the world to this is what we work on during practice. Like, I know you guys work on it in practice, but that's Jalen and AJ and Devontae.
Now, what I like so much about, though, is that, like, what he's talking about there, too, though, is the fact that Jalen Hurts, it takes a certain level of ice water in the veins, the poise, the confidence, but more the calmness. He plays with a calmness, and we've seen it in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
We've seen it in NFC championship games. He plays calm, and he makes the plays, and it was wonderful yesterday. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and again, he put the team on his back, which is what any franchise would want their franchise quarterback to do. And I love the emotion of him walking into the tunnel yesterday. Credit to Tim McManus, who was recording on his phone. Jalen Hurts walking in the tunnel, sees Howie Roseman and saying, we're not bleeping losers anymore. Now, look, nobody looked at you as a loser, but I get what he's saying. Meant. We lost 2 straight weeks. We look bad. There was a lot of 2023 talk happening on the airwaves, but coming from your own locker room. So let's not act like this was a media-driven thing. It was coming out of your locker room through the media, but there were players talking. You get a win like that yesterday. hopefully that sort of uplifts the entire team and pushes them moving forward. And I know the New York Giants have been like a fun team to watch recently. They had a horrible loss yesterday. The Eagles now looking for that revenge game against a lesser Giants opponent. They should be ready to go out at home, take care of business against the Giants next week. And now all of a sudden you're going into the bye week. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but you're going into the bye week if you win on Sunday 6-2.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you just make, like, really, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about here, is that's where we're talking about them being.
They needed it.
They needed it. They did it. It's beautiful. But more importantly, Jalen delivering like that just tells me they can overcome. They can overcome what, again, really wasn't good. And in the game plan didn't look great. And more importantly, though, something I'm very excited about is that maybe was the worst game I've seen the offensive line play in a long time.
It was really bad.
So he overcame it. We're going to get into that, I see.
Yep, we will.
And so to me, again, that tells me you have a great quarterback that just needs to be allowed to be great.
Well,
he needs to be allowed to be great.
And I saw people tweeting this out during the game early on yesterday. Like, how come Jalen just looks to run out of bounds every time the play breaks down? He's not looking downfield. Maybe a lot of that was an emphasis from the coaching staff. We have talked about the conservative approach from this Eagles offense a lot this season.
You mean he wants to make smart plays with the football and doesn't want to make big mistakes?
No, but sometimes you have the ability to throw the chunk play downfield, especially when you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So, like, I'm okay with a shot downfield sometimes. I think they're just a very careful group, and I understand why. The first 4 weeks last year, you were not careful. You were almost careless, and then all of a sudden you have to turn to running the football almost every single play in order to win. But you have so much talent around you, and because of Jalen Hurts' ability to extend a play, it's why I always talk about the perfect marriage between him and the offensive line. Maybe not so much this year because the O-line hasn't been great, but over the years, the offensive line that gets talked about so highly, Jalen Hurts is part of the reason why he doesn't get sacked that much, because he extends plays. And when you kind of let them just figure out how to play football just in real time, you see how great this team can be because you have so much talent on it. Just kind of let them unleash a little bit. And you got that yesterday.
The thing is the conservative play, the don't make mistakes has worked for Nick Sirianni and his staff. And it's worked for us as Eagle fans. But it just goes to show you, man, what can they do when they do get a little loose?
Absolutely.
And I loved it. And now, again, you said it. You're all set up. Can you take care of business against the Giants, go into the bye week, have 2 weeks off? Because this team, boy, do they need it.
They absolutely
really
need it.
need it.
A lot of injuries yesterday as well. We'll break it all down on this Victory Monday, which is brought to us by our friends at the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit opayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. Our question today on Friday, Johnny, we asked, would Sunday be the tipping point game? How are you feeling about the road ahead for the Eagles? Do we start to see the Super Bowl contenders, or do you still have questions? Text those in at 610-632-0975. Coming up next, how much credit do you get if the fan base was screaming for you to do something? Well, the offense finally did something yesterday. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Win. You needed to see the win.
The win, number one.
drop for Hurts, trying to find something downfield, and it's Devontae Smith. He's loose. He's got it. He is gone. Touchdown, Eagles. Lightning strike to Devontae Smith from 79 yards. The longest play of his career. The two longest have come against the Vikings.
That sound courtesy of Fox. Adam Amin on the call. By the way, Fox at the beginning. How do you miss the freaking opening kickoff?
Okay, so it wasn't just me.
No, it wasn't just you.
I wondered if it was my YouTube TV.
No, their broadcast was horrible in the beginning. It then got together, but no, they missed the opening kickoff, and the camera shots were all over the place. It was like they were scrambling.
By the way, I think Adam Amin has gotten much better.
Yes. No, he was good yesterday.
That was a really good broadcast.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Greg Olson's a damn
Olson's really good.
But his name's not Tom Brady. All right, we'll get back to our text messages here. But Nick Sirianni, after the game, about that play, again, this is one of those moments where I don't give you too much credit when the city of Philadelphia has been asking for things. And I don't give Kevin Patullo much credit when a play breaks down and Jalen Hurts finds receivers downfield. But that one was obviously a designed play. They saw something at halftime. They made their adjustments. And that was the touchdown pass to start the third quarter, their first drive on offense. Here's Sirianni talking about it after the game.
We've obviously been in the gun for a long time in our offense. It's just a change of some of the things that we've done. We've been very successful in the gun, and we're just trying to find ways to get things going different ways. Today it was, hey, try to get under center some. Still want to be able to, run the ball more effectively and more efficiently than we did today, but that's on all of us as coaches, as players. It gives you obviously something a little different. I won't get into all the things that we know that it gives us. There's a time for it. There's also time to be back in the gun and running from there because, we've made a lot of plays that way as well.
I don't necessarily like the message of, hey, we do this and it works. It goes back to what we talked about last week. Just because you were good at something last year doesn't mean you do it again this year. Obviously you can make improvements, but you can't just copy paste the game plan. You can't. There's defensive coordinators study your film from the previous season and what you did the first 6 weeks. You can't do the same thing.
I remember when you were making such a big deal about before 2023 about the Jeff McClain piece with Sirianni.
We just got to do more of what we were doing.
I thought you were overstating it at the time. It ended up being that you weren't because the offense coordinator was not ready for the job.
Yeah.
The offense coordinator this year is not ready for the job. And so you can't just copy paste. You can't do it. The offensive line's a big part of why this team doesn't run the ball well, but man, the predictability is a big thing too.
We'll see if throwing the ball as well as they did yesterday.
Can they do it?
We'll see if they can now run the ball next week. What do we got on the text line, Sean?
All right, I thought we kind of put this maybe myth per se to bed in the offseason, but Keith checking in, he's not the only one on the text line saying the Madden curse is real, and in my opinion, too many off-season distractions. Saquon is literally everywhere, ads, documentaries, commercials. I don't want to question his focus, but with the bad offensive line play, it's like a perfect storm.
I told you, we had a guy that used to work for EA email me saying, dude, seriously, there's something to it.
You can't, though, because 3 out of 7 years it didn't hold. So that's nonsense.
They were the
that's
outliers,
ridiculous.
John.
No, that's ridiculous.
They were the outliers.
By the way, his State Farm commercial, the new State Farm commercial that he's got.
Which one's that?
The one where he talks to the rook. He talks to the rookie player. It's one of the new ones. It premiered yesterday.
I don't think I saw that one.
I missed
it was on right. It was right around kickoff when they missed kickoff.
That's why they wanted to debut the commercial.
The rookie player that's supposedly on the Eagles is Yuri from General Hospital. So there it is. They went to General Hospital to get the player. So Yuri from GH is the player who's supposedly on the Eagles. They went to a fine actor. So there it is.
Yuri. There's a Yuri in a movie somewhere.
Congrats to GH on the Emmy the other night too. Very good. The Emmy.
Pop bottles.
Did not.
In celebration.
Did not, but great job to the cast.
One day I'll watch 5 seconds of that.
Great ride. Yeah, I have to.
What else we got on the text line?
All right. Gino from Southwest Florida checking in saying that game was all QB1. His deep ball and his command of the offense was great to see. Yes, he has ice in his veins. When the lights are brightest, he's at his best.
Well, and he also put the team on his back, and you heard him walking into the tunnel saying, we're not bleeping losers anymore, right? I understand that people don't want to jump the gun sometimes on the Kevin Patullo conversation, but let's think about it, John. There was the wheel route touchdown to Saquon Barkley, and he comes off the field, and the great job by NFL Films having like everybody mic'd up. That play wasn't even in the playbook, right? Jalen Hurts threw 2 touchdown passes to A.J. Brown that were broken down plays.
They were?
Like, there's some of their more successful highlight reel plays this season have been when it wasn't a designed play.
Yes, because it's not designed well.
No.
It's not designed.
Or he's just not calling them at the right times.
And every single color analyst who works the games tells you it. But then Nick Sirianni goes out in cover-up mode and tells you how it really is somebody else's fault. Because he's covering for his boy.
Or it's on everybody.
Exactly. Or he blames everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do.
Because he's trying to protect his guy.
Right.
All right, coming up next, our man Connor Thomas, not in today. He went to Minnesota, and he watched the Eagles beat the Vikings in person yesterday. So we'll get a first-hand account from Connor coming up next. Sean Rodman, who is in for Connor today, will give his 3 observations from the rest of the NFL. So you'll get all that coming up next. Connor Thomas, by the way, put out an Instagram story Saturday morning that I cannot wait to rip him on the air.
Really?
Because I did message him on the side. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts dazzles. I'm Sean Rodman, and the Birds headed up to Minnesota yesterday and beat the Vikings. Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, 158.3. That's the 3rd time in franchise history as for an Eagles quarterback. Hurts finished with 326 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and here is how he iced the game, courtesy of Fox.
It is Hurts launching it. A.J. Brown is loose, and A.J. Brown has it. And that might have sealed the game.
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had over 100 yards receiving, including a career high for Devontae Smith. The Eagles lose a few players yesterday due to injury, including Cam Jurgens with a knee injury. Azeez Ojulari and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. also left the game early. Connor Thomas joins us next as he was at the game yesterday. The Flyers host the Seattle Kraken tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage begins at 6:30. And this update is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Tullamore Dew, when it's game time, it's Tully time. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia Flyers, full of youth, energy, and determination. Is this the season they skate their way back into the playoffs? Find out right here all season long. This is your radio home for Flyers hockey. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
He's gonna stretch your dollar and make it holler.
I'm Gary Barbera.
And now he's gonna put your rear in a Wrangler, a Ram, a Cherokee, even a Grand Cherokee.
Oh, mama!
Starting at just $16,666. I guess you could say Barbera's gonna push your tush, right, Birds Coach Nick?
It's a stud.
Try that again.
Boy, I guess.
That's better.
Barbera!
Wranglers, Rams, Cherokees, even Grand Cherokees from $16,666.
I'm not kidding.
DallasStillSucks.com.
16,666 tax tag and $477 fee. Supplies last. Details at DallasStillSucks.com.
Gary Barbera te va a meter el trasero en un Wrangler.
Ram, Cherokee, even Grand Cherokee. Starting at $16,666. So push your tush to Barbera. You're going to save a bucket of bucks.
It's a stud.
Yeah, we know. Do the thing, Coach Nick.
This is Coach Sirianni. Is Barbera the best? Boy, I guess.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how retailers become constantly connecting must-visit shops. How restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat ready with Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with our reliable business internet. Plus, stay connected when you add Wi-Fi backup for just $35 a month. And ask about a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Wireless Connect requires business internet for additional monthly charge. Taxes and other fees extra. Prepaid card offer ends 11/16/25.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly. This service is available based on Medicaid eligibility. Call 267-727-3390 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-727-3390. That's 267-727-3390. To get started today, you get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-727-3390. 267-727-3390. Or go to freedomcare.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next-day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
Designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
Windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying... Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
The sound you hear when...
Here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Victory Monday, presented to us by our friends at the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit opayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. We will go to Minnesota soon to check in with our man Connor Thomas. But before that, Johnny gave his, I gave mine. Sean Rodman in for Connor today. Connor, you don't get to give your three observations. Sean Rodman does. So, Sean, hit us with some football music. Dun. Dun, dun. There it is. What do you got, Sean? What did you observe from the National Football League yesterday?
All right. Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but Daniel Jones looks like a franchise quarterback. He went out for another win. The Colts sitting at 5-2 right now. He looks like
6-1, brother.
6-1. I'm sorry. That's right. I'm discrediting them. Then I don't want to discredit the Colts, especially because part of me has him in one fantasy league, so I like him at my quarterback spot in that league too, so he's helping me out. Didn't think he would, but hey, credit to him where he's kind of revived his career, it looks like, out in Indianapolis.
And the happiest man that is in Indianapolis, well, there's two. One, Shane Steichen, because his job will be saved.
Correct.
Two, Jonathan Taylor has had a very good career. Injuries obviously have been a part of it, but this season, having a competent quarterback, and like Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones has the threat to run, which also helps Jonathan Taylor out in the running game.
Absolutely.
3 touchdowns yesterday. He has 697 yards total rushing already this season and 10 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. He's on pace to win AFC Offensive Player of the Year this season.
Man.
Unbelievable. What else you got?
All right, next up, the Rams. They're a problem. One, they performed well yesterday, but I don't know if you know, did you guys hear when they went out there and they landed in London? They didn't get there till Saturday morning. And they're a West Coast team, too, so you're already going back not just, 6 hours now, 9-hour travel time difference?
Well, so do you know what they did beforehand? They were in Baltimore for a few days.
Right.
Yes.
Because what's the time difference? It's What's the
5
time?
hours?
5 hours.
5 hours.
So if they stayed in L.A. the entire week and then flew out from there, it would have been a lot worse, to your point. But they were in Baltimore for a few days and then flew out and made the trip.
It was something that Sean McVay thought was a really good idea to do.
But
it worked.
It worked, and you're right, man. 5-2, and their defense is it's good. I know that they got ripped apart by the Eagles in the second half in week 3, but that defense is young, inexpensive, and it helps Matt Stafford out a lot. 5 touchdown passes for Matthew Stafford yesterday. He can still do it. He can still sling it. And that, by the way, that Jaguars team, frauds.
And no Puka Nacua as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And lastly, Bo Nix, he's the new comeback kid. 3 comebacks now in the fourth quarter alone. He had the week 1 that people kind of forget about against the Titans, which probably never should have happened. And then they did it this week against the Giants, down 19, came back once, and then even in the final seconds had to come back with a field goal again to win it late in that game in the fourth quarter. But man, they were shut out early and ended up putting up 33 points.
Shut out early, shut out till the fourth.
Yeah.
It was
19-0 as they scored the fourth quarter.
They scored all 33 points and needed all 33. They won 33-32. They score all 33 points in the fourth quarter. Will Lutz with the game-winning field goal. And it's amazing because that defense is supposed to be what's carrying them. Not that Bo Nix is bad, but it's supposed to be a defensive-first, defensive-driven football team. And then Bo Nix does his. They have a good ground game. And they needed the offense to win them the football game yesterday, and they did. 5-2 now, the Denver Broncos. Looking good for a playoff berth. Early on. Still early, but looking pretty good. All right, joining us now, Johnny, on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day of business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. From Minnesota. Now, before I even ask him about his experience in the game, I told you about it during the break, Johnny. Saturday morning, I check Instagram, and I see Connor Thomas posted a story. I'm like, oh, let me check. Saturday morning post from a different destination. You're thinking maybe he's going to post something really cool from Minnesota. He posted a tree and like a telephone wire. Is that all you could do?
We're anti-nature now?
Is that all you could do?
Telephone wires are nature?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's nature about that? Like, seriously, I'm thinking you're going to post like a breakfast spot or maybe some nice views, and it's like whatever first thing you could see out of your hotel room or house, wherever you guys stayed at, a tree and a telephone wire. Wow.
Hey, we got to a waterfall later in the day, and then we saw that football game yesterday.
Well, that should have been your first post. You don't need to post just to post. Like, too many posts could be a bad thing.
Hey, it's vacation. Sometimes you got to let Instagram eat a little bit.
What was that like yesterday in that building, watching the Eagles? And I saw you were down on the field and saw Carson Wentz walk by you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Minnesota has a really cool thing. Their Delta 360 Club, where the players actually walk out through there. So a chance to talk a little bit of smack with Carson before the game, respectfully, of course. But it was a great experience. There were a lot of Eagles fans, and we know this fan base travels well. But I'll tell you guys, you saw from the Instagram story, there's nothing to do in Minneapolis. And for that many Eagles fans to make this trip for this game when the Birds are on a 2-game slide, respect to the fan base, they showed out.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it seemed like it was loud. I heard some Eagles chants. I heard some little bit of cheers when the scores were going in. I mean, it seemed that's a tough place to play. How loud is it?
It's pretty darn loud in there. That building is a great building. It's a cool stadium if you haven't been. And the Vikings fans were loud too. I mean, it felt like a big game, and it was for both teams because of the quality of teams that you have out there. And it was loud on both sides. So great environment and a great result for the Birds.
So what did you make of the offensive performance? I'm having you on like you're Andrew DiCecco. It looks like it from the TV. We've been talking about it all morning. It was the Jalen Hurts show and not the Kevin Patullo game plan that really worked for them. How often did you see a play break down and you're wondering who's this ball going to go to?
Yeah, that felt like the real theme of the day, right? There were a lot more wide receivers that felt like running open than we've seen in previous weeks, but it was later on in the plays when Jalen would extend it. So I will give Kevin Patullo more credit than he's gotten the past couple of weeks because, one, they won the game. And two, some of those plays are schemed. Like the double post with A.J. Brown scoring late was an awesome play call to run the safety off with Devontae. That looked great from the beginning. A couple of the deep balls to Devontae were well-schemed plays. But a lot of it was Jalen just extending and the offensive line forcing him to get out of the pocket by not blocking things up as well as they should, and then just making things happen.
Is there a belief in your mind that that they turned a corner?
You know what? Yeah, I think there is. They looked more comfortable offensively with what they were trying to get done. My biggest concern going forward is no longer Kevin Patullo, and he is still a concern. But it's really clear the offensive line isn't healthy enough right now. They need to get to the bye, and they need to start blocking stuff up. I can't see Brett Toth play football again for this team. I'm sorry. And I need to see everybody, Cam Jurgens healthy, Landon Dickerson more healthy, and that's the biggest thing that I'll be looking for before the bye.
What's the food scene like out there? That's all I care about at this point. Enough of your analysis.
Everything is fried. They put cheese inside the patties for burgers. Like, it's incredible. This is as Midwest food gets.
I'm pro cheese stuffed in the burger. I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know. It tastes better. I swear. When the burger is stuffed, it tastes better.
Yeah, man, everything feels like it came out of a fryer when you eat out here, which is fine for me, especially since it's a balmy 45 degrees right now as I'm wandering the backyard of the Airbnb. So you need that comfort food out here.
Did you do the habit trails around the downtown or not? All those little
we did
walkways?
not.
You did not.
We got caught at the Mall of America for about 4 hours.
Oh my gosh!
Is it worth it, or is that just like a thing to do?
You have to do it.
Oh, it's worth it.
You got to
it's
do
worth
it.
They got a theme park in the damn mall. It's not as fun as the game, but it was a pretty close
biggest in the
second.
world.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I would look at it and go, all right, it's a mall.
No,
And
you
then I'd
wouldn't.
leave.
No, it's more than a mall. I mean, Connor, tell him. It's more than a mall.
Oh, it's everything, man. They've got a whole bunch. And guess what? We walk into, because they have Rally House out here for Minnesota.
Of course.
We walk into the Minnesota Rally House in front and center. They got all the Eagles gear set up.
Well,
I
you
don't
know
if
why?
set it
They
up
knew
because
Eagles
they
fans
know,
were traveling, so they're gonna
but there are a lot
stock
of Birds
up.
fans everywhere.
Did you learn the Rally House jingle for Minnesota?
I did not. I was wondering about that. I don't know how many.
Well, they
teams
changed the
could
jingle
throw
for
in
every
that out
city. I know that John Marks was ruining that for Ray Dunn. That there's a different jingle. There is different jingle in every city.
Twinnies, Vikings,
No, but it's the
Gophers.
same. It's the same song, but that's the difference for the things, and you can find it on YouTube, by the way.
I'll do some research before I'm out of
Yeah,
here.
have fun.
All right, Connor. Enjoy
Connor,
yourself.
we'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Have a
There you
safe
go.
trip. There's Connor Thomas.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
It's the same
Well, I
jingle.
knew they didn't have Villanova, Penn State.
No, but it's the same jingle.
Yeah.
And they somehow shoehorn all the different teams from. So for Minnesota, they'd have to
Twinnies,
say
Vikings.
Twins, Wild, Vikings. You know, you'd have to do that. So Twins, Wild, Vikings.
The Golden Gophers.
Wolves.
Wolves.
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. Twinnies, Timberwolves, Vikings.
You have to find a way to be able to fit it all in there. Rodman, I know that Ray Dunn didn't want to hear it because he thought that it would ruin it for him. The if he ever heard a Rally House jingle, the Minnesota Rally House jingle, if you find it on YouTube, you can play it.
Yeah, can you grab that for us? I
It
would
be fun
like to hear that.
I think it'd be fun to hear it.
I would like to
I
hear
think it'd be fun to hear it. Some of the Rally House jingles from other cities, it'd be fun. Ray was like, will be putting his fingers in his ears because it'll ruin it for him. I've listened to a couple of them, and it is funny because it's amazing how they just hired one jingle writer and then squeezed it in. The Philly one is maybe the best.
Well, come on.
Eagles, Sixers, Villanova, Penn State, Temple, Philly, Flyers, don't be late.
I mean, it's great.
But don't be late is the one that's really, it's as if you're running in before
Well,
closing.
you need something to rhyme.
Yes.
All right, coming up next, we have 2 Monday night games to preview because both of which have way down the road playoff seeding implications. So we'll do that, and we'll discuss those NFC playoff seeding coming up next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5.
Is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
9 o'clock hour. Presented to us by The Bagster. By the way, Ian Rappaport, just about 5 minutes ago, on the Miami Dolphins, no changes are expected at
Oh, my
this
gosh.
time.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, when I did my 3 observations, if you guys missed it, one of them was I would hate to be a Dolphins fan. Like, when you're watching your team week in and week out just have poor efforts, right? At this point, you're just hoping Monday morning you wake up, you're driving to work, and you're listening to whatever Miami sports talk station, and you're hoping to hear breaking news, right? Like,
yeah, but I don't understand. Like, how do you not do something?
Did you hear his press conference yesterday?
But I always have thought he was a.
No, he's always he bumbles a lot.
No, I mean, now the thing is I remember when he was with the Falcons.
Yeah.
I saw him when he was a nerd boy video coach.
Right.
And he was so freaking odd back then. I mean, he was like, if you had ever told me he was going to be an NFL head coach, I would have been like, no way.
My question is, what's the point of keeping around, right? So if, let's say they win Sunday, they're playing the Bengals. They beat Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, are they happy in Miami? Like, no, they're probably like, damn it, I want them to actually keep on losing. Maybe that's why they keep Mike McDaniel around, just to keep losing, so they can get a good draft pick.
And they just paid Tua.
And he stinks. He stinks. Like, I'm sorry, Mike McDaniel's supposed to be boy genius offensive mind, and Tua's horrible.
Somebody could get a lot more out of Tua though than he is. I promise you.
He is one of the guys where I said, don't pay him.
But I promise you, somebody could get a lot more out of Tua than he could. Like, I'll tell you this. Tua was a better quarterback in college by far than Daniel Jones was. So some coach could get a lot more out of him than he is getting. Oh. But you've got to put him in the right offense, and you got to coach him up and do those things. And by the way, I love Daniel Jones coming out of college. Not where he was drafted.
I was not
that high. So. I was, but not as high as you.
If you're Miami and you see that tweet from Ian Rappaport, you're just like, why are we still doing this? All right, so we have the audio, Sean.
Yeah, this Sean.
Yes, we did a little part at the jingle.
Where are we going?
So Rally House all over the country. This is the Minnesota version.
T-Wolves, Gophers, and the Twins. Minnesota Wild, Skull Vikings.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's not bad. The Philly one's better.
See, that's good. There's our friends at Rally House.
The Philly one's better.
I subjected Andrew to Dallas.
Yeah, it was a long commercial break.
Milwaukee.
I kind of wish you took spots out, respectfully,
Dallas,
to our
Milwaukee,
advertisers.
Cincinnati. I made him hear Dallas, Milwaukee, Cincinnati.
The Dallas one was atrocious.
Dallas is terrible.
With all due respect to
with
Rally
our friends
House.
at Rally House. But we hate Dallas, so we're a little biased.
It adds to it.
We're a little biased. Philly is the best, though.
All right. Before we get back to our text messages on the Eagles, we have a Monday night doubleheader today. The late game, the Texans and Seahawks, obviously not as impactful for the Eagles, but the Seahawks are still fighting for that division out west.
Oh no, it's one where right now the passing over Minnesota, they are regretting their decision at quarterback.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They made a big mistake.
Because they used a high draft pick on McCarthy, and so they were gonna roll with McCarthy, despite winning 14 games last year with Sam Darnold.
And Sam Darnold is a guy who I think a lot of people just refuse to admit he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback.
Not great, but he's a good quarterback, and you can win with him in the NFL.
Yeah, it shows you how bad the Jets were, right? Like you're in it's like Daniel Jones and the Giants, right? You're in a horrible situation, and then you get another chance to perform.
And now he's done it in two different places where he's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. His numbers, he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in the way he's playing. In a second place, which is crazy. It's crazy.
And so I've been saying it since last week. I'm taking one of my picks on Friday was the under in tonight's game between the Seahawks
that's yours.
And
we
the
have to do our Bet Parks update too, by the way.
Yes,
from our friends
please.
at Bet Parks, our picks, and Andrew has pulled his way to 12-15 on the season.
I went 2-1.
2-1 with one more game, so you have a chance to get to 13-15 tonight.
Yep.
If you win, thanks to the Bet Parks app, you could be 13-15, or you could drop to 12-16. You could be 2-2. We'll see.
Hopefully not.
Connor went 2-2 this weekend, so he continues to just be at 500.
Yep, and he's happy with it.
He's 14-14. He won the Bears and the Eagles. He lost the Packers.
He's Jeff Fisher. He's Marvin Lewis. He's just happy,
there.
He's just happy to be there.
And yet another winning week from John Kincade.
It's good.
Only one non-winning week all year. 18-10 on the year. A 3-1 week.
It's big.
I got cutesy on the Jets. I really did think the Jets were going to win a game this weekend.
They might not win a game this year.
I had the Jets. That was my only loss. Jets plus 1.5, and I kept thinking in the fourth quarter they were going to find a way, and they're going to pull that one out. But I had the Cowboys winning outright. I told you the Cardinals were not going to win outright or might, but they were going to cover that 6.5, and then the Bears. So 3-1, 18-10 on the year.
It's a good season.
Yeah, but it's a long season. And I know what these two can do coming up. So we'll see.
It's a good season.
Season.
So, yeah, Seahawks, they're 4-2 to start the season. That NFC West is going to be an outrageous division. Niners 5-2 with a ridiculous win over the Falcons yesterday. I was not expecting it.
The Niners are there right now. They're a dangerous team because they're 5-1 in the conference.
Yes.
So they're right now. They are the team that you got to.
It's just a wonder if they can stay afloat with all their injuries.
We keep saying that.
And then they beat the Falcons. Look, that was a really good win for the 49ers.
And their schedule's not that bad. And right now they're good, and they're ahead of the Eagles. Right now they're the 3 seed, and they're going to be trouble.
And then the other game tonight, the first game is Bucks-Lions. Now, we've been talking about this since last Monday, a week ago.
And I'm begging people to listen to me. I'm begging people to listen to me. The Bucks need to lose.
I'm worried about the Lions.
Yeah, you can take care of the Lions yourself. Do you believe in the Eagles? Do you believe in your Eagles?
Yeah, I believe in them.
You need the Bucks to lose. You need the Buccaneers to lose. You can take care of the Lions yourself. The Buccaneers schedule is easy. You want the Bucks to get a loss. You want to get back ahead of the Bucks. Get back ahead of the Buccaneers. Tomorrow morning, have the Buccaneers behind you in the standings where you have the edge over them again. You don't want the Buccaneers' schedule's easy. They have they're hard games the rest of the way. At the Bills, at the Rams. That's it.
I do think the Lions win tonight. I think your wishes will be granted.
I do too. But that's it. You can take care of the Lions. The Lions have I believe have a little bit of a tougher schedule. A little bit. But I don't think their schedule's that tough either.
Now let me ask you, because we've had this conversation numerous times in our year and a half working with each other. You are I'm gonna watch this game and how it impacts the Eagles.
Yes.
To me, I don't give a damn. I just want to be entertained tonight.
I'm watching it as
I'm not watching get him. I'm not watching the Lions defense saying, come on, get Baker.
No, I'm watching this game and I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm watching this from a critical eye going, oh boy, how would this be hurting the Eagles, helping the Eagles? Does this team look like they're really, really good? As the more I watch the Packers, I say the Packers look like a team that 22-24 Eagles rounding into shape. They're not getting beaten.
So I will say I did my ESPN shift yesterday, and I was doing the show with Gabe Neitzel, who does morning radio in the Wisconsin area.
Right.
So they talk Packers all the time. He doesn't feel as confident about his team the way you do. And it's not a radio thing.
No.
They're very inconsistent.
They are.
He said to me yesterday, this is such a Packers game, barely beating the Cardinals.
Barely beating in, and we've talked about that with the Eagles last year at this time. The Packers are just one of those teams. The only unbeaten team in the conference.
He's not a big LaFleur fan.
Well, if you ever met him, you wouldn't be either. That's all I can tell you.
Well, more so from the offensive standpoint, not the personal standpoint.
Yeah, go wax your eyebrows.
Sean, are you watching tonight's game with any sort of eye for the Eagles, or are you just a entertain me guy?
I'm more of an entertain me. I mean, I'll watch maybe a little bit, be like, oh, maybe that's where the Eagles could exploit them a little bit, but I'm not glued into to see where they can pick apart the Lions in a couple weeks.
And Game 7's on tonight too.
So I was just about to ask you, what gets top billing?
the Lions and the Bucks, but Game 7, I'm bouncing. If it was National League Game 7, it would be almost even. American League Game 7, bouncing back and forth.
This is what I'm going to do.
iPad Game 7.
So I'm going to go. The Telemundo will be the football game tonight. But as soon as halftime hits, the baseball game goes on the big screen, considering that's when I'll probably fall asleep watching. At that point, 10 o'clock, I mean.
Sure, we're falling asleep.
Yeah, so I will fall asleep with Mariners Jays tonight on the big screen. But I will start. Plus, it's 7 o'clock kickoff. You know, I'm locking into the Lions and Bucks. That's what I want to see. All right, what do we got on the text line, Sean?
All right. This person checking in saying, yesterday's game highlights Kevin Patullo's deficiencies. It shows that we have the personnel to make things happen. We just have to dial up plays that allow it to happen.
I mean, it's amazing. Pretty much all season long, every game there's been a, hey, this is when Jalen took over moment.
Yep.
And it's not just Jalen started playing better. It's they kind of went away from maybe what the play call was. Play broke down. He's making checks at the line of scrimmage. That's happened multiple times this season. And look, I get it. Kevin Patullo gives him multiple plays to bring to the line of scrimmage with. But it just almost feels like when they're up tempo and Jalen's just running the show, it's a lot smoother. It's a problem. Kevin Patullo, despite them being 5-2, and Connor was very gracious when he was on, Kevin Patullo's still a problem. And I'm not going to sit here and say Kevin Patullo had a good day yesterday.
Kevin Patullo is a bigger problem than any problem they have. He's the number one problem. Yeah. The offensive line is a problem, though.
It is.
The offensive line can no longer be considered a strength.
And it hasn't.
If they got back to complete health, we'll see. But right now, no one can just off the top of their head say, well, the offensive line be the best offensive line in football. No longer.
You can't
and by the way, I was saying that well into like week 2, week 3 of the season. And that's an error on my part.
All right, tell us about life-saving cancer research, please, John.
Hey, H&H Heating and Air Conditioning. They were out at our house just the other day. Make a donation today, like they did, to the American Association for Cancer Research. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR, because I'm living proof 3 times over. Cancer research can save your life.
All right, picks for today. These do not go on our individual records for this season. I like the Lions in this game, and I think they actually cover the 5.5 against the Buccaneers.
I like the Lions. I would not touch the line. I would touch the money line, and maybe go with some prop bets. I'd go with some prop bets. I'd do a money line,
a lot of
Lions,
overs,
money line Lions, and go with some overs.
A lot of overs today.
Yes. I go overs both teams.
Yes, I agree with you.
And I think Baker and Goff are both going to have some big nights.
Well, Baker's getting Mike Evans back, his guys back, so that's a big part of it too.
I think these two teams are both going to be a problem. And if the Eagles have to travel, if the path means the Lions and the Bucks are ahead of them in the standings, going to be a problem.
All right,
be a problem.
Middays with Marks comes your way next here on 97.5 The Fanatic.